Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Pipeline. I'm your host today, Darren McClymans, and I'm here with my reoccurring co-host, Toxic Taz. You have been promoted, Taz. I have dubbed it so.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Reoccurring co-host. I like that. I like the sound of that. Sounding good.
Absolutely. It's very nice not having to search out people every single week. It's like I can just bring this guy back. It's fine. Everyone likes you.
Well, I appreciate it. I love coming here every week. It gives me something to keep on my schedule. So, without this, I'd be, sleeping well into the afternoon.
Oh man. So I mean, how have you been? It's been a pretty crazy week for just like news and things come out, and just like in preparation of this really feels like the needle drop for like the summer. Like starting Flash this week, the summer straight it's insane, and so much shows coming out and things starting, and obviously it's so much fun, but it's also like there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, there has been a lot of news. A lot has come out recently. A lot of good news and a lot of not so great news as well that I'm sure we will get into, and just get out all the emotions on.
Yeah, no, there's a lot here. I didn't even pull it up yet. But yeah, no, I'm very excited actually because I have about like 18 news articles here, and just kind of things to talk about. Some kind of go together, some are just kind of like, oh, that's interesting. We should probably talk about that. Obviously, like the big thing, I just kind of want to mention it straight up front. We finally heard about Lois and Gotham Knights. It's official. Yeah. Kind of feels like this has been like the dream we've been waiting for all year, just because like all season 3 has been like, okay, this is cool, but is it the final season? Is it the last we're seeing these characters? What's happening with Gotham Knights? Are they both getting picked up? Are they all ending? Is one getting picked up by the other? It's been quite a journey, and I will say, like before we even start talking about it, it's nice to have that, and I finally know.
Right. It's to sit here speculating every week. It's like, oh, is it going to get renewed? Is it not going to get renewed? Are we going to have an unresolved cliffhanger to end things off on? At least for Superman and Lois, we now know it will be returning. But Gotham Knights, I'm still salty.
Yeah. So just kind of, honestly, like, there's a lot to talk about today. So I do kind of want to jump right in. And speaking of things being disappointing, delays, like always, it's very funny to me because it kind of hit me today that I don't know if if this industry is ever going to be the same. Like first it was right. COVID, and then it's writer strikes, and then it's one thing after another. I wonder if we're ever going to get to a point where it's like movies and TV are just back. Like there's no controversy, there's no strikes, there's no deaths, there's no any of this kind of stuff. And Disney kind of came out today and was like, hey, we're delaying everything. Your Marvel stuff, your Star Wars, are finally giving you dates for, and also Avatar, and even some of like the live action stuff. So I do kind of want to jump in here with the MCU. I think this is the most interesting one. I think this one has the most big changes when it comes to their film lineup. And honestly, man, like going forward, there are a lot of big names here. Like I kind of forgot starting next year how many big events and movies that we have. And, I assume we're going to get more in between and some little projects, in between here, because there's some big gaps here. But, so Deadpool 3, which was supposed to come out, I don't remember, but it was supposed to come out next year, and it's still slated for 2024, which I was shocked about. I thought that maybe, I don't know, maybe it would have got pushed to 25.
I mean, I believe, either started filming or are about to start filming or something like that. So
sure.
it definitely makes sense. But the fact that the writer's strike is still going on, the fact that that's obviously affecting a movie like Deadpool 3, it's something that relies heavily on just kind of like on-set script rewrites, ad-libbing and everything like that. I know a lot of, the classic Deadpool jokes and everything. That's just a lot of Ryan Reynolds just riffing off of whatever's going on set that day. So I know that there's a lot of different restrictions now because of that. But the fact that they're pushing it back maybe is definitely a good thing, because I'd much rather them,
Yeah.
push any release back and have more time to work on it, more time to polish things, more time to, let this writer's strike come to a conclusion, and then, have that freedom to, change things on set when they feel like that's necessary.
Yeah, no, I think Deadpool 3 is definitely the one I'm most worried about, because it does seem like Marvel is pushing this forward. And I was kind of hoping maybe they would have learned their lesson from these last couple of years, maybe take their time and take it slow. And it felt like that's what they wanted to do. Like, I felt like we were actually getting to that point where we could do that. And I get businesses will like business, right? Like, they need to get these movies out. They can't stop production on all this stuff. But
Right.
I think Deadpool 3 is one that needs that. Like, I think they need rewrites, and such a big film as well, because it seems like this will be another one of those like multiverse cameo fest type things, and I wonder how much of that is, you're going to need that improvisation. Again, of both Ryan Reynolds and also Hugh Jackman, which are both
Yes.
great
Yes.
friends. They're both like, I like that back and forth is what's going to, I think, make that movie that movie. So definitely worried about that one. Next up here, we have Brave New World, which will be August 26th, 2024. That like summer blockbuster period. That feels like a good time for Cap. I like August
Right.
quite a lot. That seems like a lot of fun. Right before school starts. I think they usually try to aim for like earlier than August. I don't think I like remember like an August date.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Marvel's usually kind of in that like May through July slate,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the fact that Deadpool 3 is now coming out in May, that they don't want something like 2 months after. I think they want to take that, June, July slate off the plate and everything like that, and then,
Sure.
give enough time for Deadpool to kind of like fully
Conquer.
experience
Yeah.
its theater run, and they don't want to compete with themselves, I guess, is really the main thing here.
Sure. And then we have Thunderbolts, which I didn't even like really look at this until now, which is this is a Christmas date. Like, this is like 5 days before Christmas. That's kind of an interesting choice. I wonder if there's going to be any like Christmas trees or any Christmas
Christmas
themes in there.
Christmas Hulk.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, Thunderbolts, again, not what I would think of like a family friendly holiday go movie. Um, so we'll see. I'm curious to see the whole vibe that like I guess they're going for there.
Yeah, but definitely 3 movies next year is
Oh
I
yeah,
think it's a good target for them to hit. I think, and a lot of people have been um against Marvel for releasing so many
too much.
projects in one year. Right, right, right. So I think that, spreading the slate out the way that they are, I think that gives each movie time to breathe and everything like that. Now I don't know what they're planning on releasing as far
Shows.
as shows and stuff on Disney Plus go next year. But if this is the movie slate, I think that that's nice. But also, I think all of these are just tentative dates, and anything
Sure.
could change at any point. Thunderbolts could get pushed back to 25. Who knows? So, because it's right there at the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, I do really like the whole 3 movie system. Like, I think that's really good. And then of course you have the shows that you have to fit in. So like I've been saying, I think 3 shows, maybe two, or I'm sorry, 3 movies and then 2 shows, I think is a good amount for them. But like I think there's going to be a lot of like pushback in 2020 for it, because like there's a lot of shows this year that aren't coming out this year. Like we have What If at some point. We have X-Men. We have Agatha. We have, I know Daredevil was supposed to be next year, but I think that will probably get pushed.
Right, right.
Um, there's that Spider-Man show that's supposed to come out at some point. I don't know what happened
The
with
animated
that.
one.
Yeah,
I thought that one got canceled, or at least like indefinitely put on hold.
did
That was
it?
the last thing I remember seeing for it.
That's very unfortunate.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Blade. So we only have 2 films in 2025. I assume there will be something in there. I assume that we will have 1 or 2 more. If that's a Spider-Man, if that's a Doctor Strange or like a Shang-Chi. I assume we'll have either one or two, because like this is really like Blade, Fantastic Four, especially. I assume will be a lot of setup for Kang Dynasty. I assume that like that's their period, setting up for these multiverse big events. So
yeah. And then also, again, we also always have those movies or the shows in between the movies.
Yes, so. Sure. I can definitely see like a Doctor Strange 3 there, because I have a feeling they want to do another Doctor Strange before Kang Dynasty to fully set it up, and I feel that would be a full like Kang centric type movie. I feel like.
Yeah, that would definitely be a good place to slot in some more Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And of course, Blade is February 14th. Poor movie. I mean, we've talked about this movie a bit on here before.
Yeah. Definitely like development purgatory.
Yeah, it's giving Flash vibes. Just a little bit. I hope it gets out. I know they had like to rewrite the whole thing and it's put on hold, but it at least it's still in their forefront and they're trying to get that thing out. Blade does feel very on its own as well. Like I feel very independent from like multiverse, like King Dynasty stuff, from like government, like Secret War type stuff, Thunderbolt stuff. Very fair, like far from like Daredevil and stuff. Like it feels more in line with like your Moon Knights, your Werewolf by Nights, your all that stuff. So I wonder if Blade's in like Avengers or something, or if it is really like a Moon Knight where it's like, oh yeah, it's nothing to do with any of this other stuff.
Yeah, I'm sort of feeling like it'll most likely be very much so like a standalone project, and then depending on the reception, they might, throw him into something else later down the line, whether that be another Moon Knight project, whether that be kind of like a dark mystical side of the MCU project, something like that. But I think it kind of all depends on how the film goes, for sure.
Absolutely. Noah Irwin in the chat. How's it going, buddy? Hope you're having a great day. That's all I have to say. I completely forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, and of course, Fantastic Four May. That feels great date for Fantastic Four. Early May, blockbuster season.
Yeah, start right at the beginning of the summer.
Yeah, so that's 25. We still have a minute, so they might wait even longer for casting. Which I'm very.
And there's been a lot of casting rumors. we could have a whole stream just about that.
I'm sick of casting. Like I was sick a year ago, and we're not. It feels like we're not even close. Like I thought maybe San Diego Comic-Con, but writer strikes. I'm not sure if that's happening.
Yeah. I very highly doubt that they'd announce anything until that's over.
Yeah, it feels like. It feels like Adam Driver's in it. Like Adam Driver for now seems like our Reed.
Yeah.
I just want it to be official. It seems like he's our Reed. It feels like Diggs might be our thing from like what I'm seeing. And then Margot Robbie, I mean Sue, like there's a new casting every day.
Yeah.
Like it's Margot Robbie, and then it's Emma Stone, and it's this and that, and it's like just cast someone. I just want to know what it is and we can move on. Noah said Blade is a very interesting character. He's also immensely underrated. Yeah, I'll be honest. I still have not seen those films. I've not seen the Blade movies, which I need to do. I hear they're very fun. Are you a fan of Blade at all?
I'm a fan of the clips of those movies that I have seen. Yes. I've never sat down and fully watched any of them, but
you haven't read every single comic.
Oh no, actually, if we turn this camera around, it would just see a wall full of just like very rare Blade comic covers.
Sure.
So favorite Marvel character of all time for sure.
And then 2026 and 2027, which these are a while away, man. Like it's kind of insane. It went from 25 to 27, but I'm very glad that there is a year apart. I like the year apart thing. I loved that with Infinity War and then Endgame. I love that year apart of just nonstop theorizing and talking and like speculating. Because I think last year wasn't it like 6 months at one point? Like Kang Dynasty was in like November, and then Secret Wars
I feel
was
like they were originally much closer together.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course they will fill in those slots. They'll probably be
Oh yeah, for sure. There will be maybe
Yeah,
some solo projects, maybe just something to fill in the gap, just like they did in
sure.
between Infinity War and Endgame. Whether they'll be super relevant to any of those movies, who knows? But again, they could set up like a character that would be very important in between those films to do something crazy in Secret
Sure.
Wars.
I'm trying to think because I think originally Fantastic Four was like a lot closer to King Dynasty. Like it was almost felt like a back to back,
Yeah,
like only a
yeah.
couple months apart. So I wonder. Again, I'm just so curious what they fit in here. Like
I
we
could almost see
have,
like a Spider-Man 4.
I think a Spider-Man 4 is around the corner.
Yeah.
I think because they've been working hard on that. Like it seems like that's a priority. Like since Spider-Man 4, Doctor Strange 3, I think is up there. I think maybe a Shang-Chi 2 would
Yeah,
fit
I
in around there.
haven't seen anything about it, but I would assume
No.
that they'd have to make another one.
Yeah. Maybe Eternals, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't care much about that, but I know that it has its
I have not
fans.
even seen Eternals.
Oh, really?
No. Because I
Oh.
just there was so much going on around that time, and it just had not so great reception. And I was like, oh, I'll watch it when it comes out on Disney
Oh.
Plus, and then I just never got around to it.
Sure.
One day I'll watch it when I'm super bored or
What
something.
did you like a watch? I mean, if you're bored, that might not be your best movie to keep you
Then
entertained.
I'll turn it on if I want to go to sleep. Then how about that?
Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a movie I might need to rewatch because I did not like it when it came out, and maybe that's because I was really tired when I watched it. Like I had just
Mhm.
worked a whole like 9 hour shift. I was really tired. But I was like, I'm so bored. Um, but I don't think it's a bad movie or anything. While we are on the topic of the MCU, I do want to throw in Anthony's question: over or under 50%? Quake shows up in Secret Invasion. Did you watch Shield at all? Are
I
you a Shield
watched
fan?
like very, very early Agents of Shield. Like I watched like a couple of episodes in that
Okay.
first season, and then it never really grabbed me. And then the
Mm.
fact that like it seemed somewhat disconnected from the MCU at that point, I'd like never really went back to it. Then I saw they were doing Ghost Rider, and then I was like, oh, I kind of might want to watch it. And then it didn't seem like he was there for very long, so I was like, yeah, maybe not. But
One day I'm gonna get you to watch all these shows.
yes, no, I have a whole list. I gotta watch The Boys. I gotta watch Invincible. I gotta watch all this stuff.
Sure. I seasons 4 and 5 are like in my top 5 like MCU stuff. Like
Okay.
it like if you still count it canon, I'd go like Infinity War, Winter Soldier, Agent season 4. Like it's that high
Wow.
for me. Like
Wow.
I think I think it's one of my favorite shows. I want to look more at these chats. I'm not excited for Fantastic Four film. However, I've never been super into them, but I acknowledge their importance for certain storylines, especially the Kang Dynasty storyline. Yeah, I'm not a huge Fantastic Four fan either, but I think that's mainly because I don't know them. Like I feel like
Mm.
as someone who isn't very deep in comics, I try and dabble, but I'm not very deep in comics. And those films, as much as I like those old movies, um, I don't know if that did a good job at like representing those characters and being like,
Mm.
yes, this is who they are. And I hope this movie changes that. Like I hope this movie like brings over a whole bunch of fans, I guess, of
Yeah.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Yeah. I was also a pretty big fan of the original two movies, but
Mm,
again, not really too much outside of that. Whenever they appear in animation or whatever, I'm excited for that. But again,
sure.
not super knowledgeable about the Fantastic Four outside of what we've gotten in the past as far as live action interpretations go.
Hmm. Totally forgot to answer your question. I asked you about Shield, and then we skip right over. Um, do you, not knowing a lot about that character, do you think there's a
Yeah,
chance that?
I'm aware of the character, and I would say maybe maybe slightly over 50%,
Okay.
just because this is kind of the era of cameos and everything like
Yeah,
that, and all these companies love throwing in familiar faces. So
sure.
I would err on the side of it's more likely than not.
It's so weird because this is the one thing I want to see in like the MCU. Like if they do this, I will be happy for a while. I think with characters like Daredevil and Punisher coming back, like those shows were immensely more popular than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had a very small but powerful fandom. Like they are allowed on social media, but they're not the most well known. Like you go out in the street, talk to like 100 Marvel fans, maybe 5 of them have watched S.H.I.E.L.D., you know? So I'm, I'll say right in the middle because I could see it going either way. I will say I think it's here or nothing because this is literally the perfect project for them to show up in.
Right.
If they don't show up here, I don't think they ever will. I think that's for certain. So we'll see. Noah Arwen says Invincible over The Boys, in my opinion. Maybe. The Boys has 3 seasons. Invincible has 1. So both are very good, though.
Then maybe I'll watch Invincible first, just because it's less content.
Maybe they both come back in like the fall. So
yeah, I've got to get on that. Gotta channel.
Invincible season 2 comes out fall, and then the Boys spinoff comes out this fall as well.
Okay.
So we'll see. Did you hear that Sarah will not be coming back in season 4? The actress confirmed it on a live stream.
I did hear that.
Did you?
I heard. I didn't see the clip or anything, but I heard people talking about it today. Not surprising. I felt kind of like the Cushing family was definitely one that would be a casualty of that budget cut of pulling away from that extended series regular cast.
Sure.
I know that General Lane is also not coming back as well, apparently.
Yes.
So it definitely makes a lot of sense. I don't know if that means not coming back as far as a regular goes, meaning that they're not going to be there at all, or we could possibly see these characters pop up in maybe 1 or 2 episodes. I know I said something. I can't remember if it was my video yesterday, Lance's video, the stream, something. I remember saying this at some point yesterday, that I feel like these characters could pop up in the premiere and the finale for next season. And that's kind of how they get around it.
I will say, I think even if these characters aren't back, I think the season finale or the series finales, but if it is the series finale, I think Sam needs to be there. I think all these characters.
Yeah. I think that they all should be in a series finale for sure.
Yeah, 100%. We'll see though. We'll obviously talk more about that as we get there because that is a little bit on the list. Comics wise, Reed is objectively a jerk. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I think that's a pretty big part, which is why I
deserved being turned into string cheese.
Yeah, which I could definitely see Adam Driver really killing Reed. Like I wasn't sure how I felt about the casting at first, but the more I think about it, the more I actually kind of really dig it.
Oh yeah, Adam Driver's a great actor. I think I know the other fan cast was Doom. But I feel like that's so similar to Kylo Ren.
100%.
Just allow him to do something different.
Yeah.
I think that would be great. And then, hey, we get a maybe a continuation of his SNL skits. And instead of Matt the radar technician, it's Matt the future Foundation technician.
I mean, just that scene from like Marriage Story with him like yelling at a Scarlett Johansson. Like I want that scene with like Reed and Sue, like that, like that's just them, that like back and forth of like we love each other but we also hate each other so much. I think could be a lot of fun. Alrighty, let's move on here. We spent a lot of time on that. So just Avatar. So are you a fan of these Avatar movies? Are you?
No, I remember seeing the first one in theaters when it first came out, and I was so bored. And these movies are so long, but they look incredible. They look incredible, but to me they feel like just like a tech demo for CGI. Like I've not been super invested. If you like these movies, I don't mind, but I'm just not personally a fan. I've never been into them for sure. But
I was so young when the first one came out, and I did not rewatch it in preparation for this one. I just didn't feel like it. And I actually quite like. I enjoyed 2. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's not my favorite movie ever. Again, it looks beautiful. Like it looks absolutely insanely cool.
Oh yeah, there's no denying that.
It's very funny because everyone on Twitter is like, I'll be 45 when the last one comes out. Just seeing like these dates like scoring so far ahead is insane to me. 2025, that makes sense. And then a huge jump for 4, which is 2029. That's about a 4-year jump. And then a slightly less jump for 5, but still seeing like a movie coming out 2031. I hate hearing that. I don't want to hear that date.
So what you're telling me is by the time we get to these movies coming out, Avatar could be real life.
I like that's like stuff from like Back to the Future or like the Jetsons. I don't know. Like it's insane to me to actually hear those dates and realize we're getting older. Like we are growing and we're heading into the future. That's insane to me.
But I mean, that's exactly what I think we thought when we saw like when they revealed the whole slate for say Marvel stuff, and they were like, oh,
sure,
Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2, it's 2018 and 2019 or whatever it was, and we're like, oh my god, that's so far away.
Sure. Yeah, Justin's talking about Sam's wife. Yeah, very sad to hear.
Yeah,
we'll obviously talk more about that. Robert, Darth Bunyan, howdy. I hope you're both good. You too, Robert. I hope you're having a great one.
Hope you're doing well.
Avatar is just Dances with Wolves. I've never seen Dances with Wolves. Is that HBO show?
I don't know.
Or I think that's something else. The one that got canceled?
Sure. I'm not sure. I've not heard of that. Yeah, just gonna tell it like it is.
I enjoyed the first Avatar and Avatar 2. I'm very glad. I think they're very fun movies. I think they're almost the like definition of like blockbuster movies. Like,
oh yeah, I mean,
a lot of action. Yeah,
just big summer blockbustery.
Yeah,
a lot of CGI, a lot of action, a lot of stuff going on.
Just wait until that 9-hour cut comes out.
Is it true that this one's like 3 hours and 15 minutes? I'm pretty
2?
sure I saw. Yeah, the second one.
2's about it's like over 3 hours.
Oh boy,
it's a lot. You feel it. Like that first half is a lot of fun. Like there's about 55 minutes of this just them swimming, just them like learning to swim and learning the culture. Like they're just kind of chilling, and then it's like, okay, this movie's pretty good. And then you like you get to the back half and it's like over an hour long, and this I'm like, this fight scene's been going on for a minute. But I think that is very fun, and I think these movies do. Did you see them inside the like big screen, or
I saw the first one? I saw the first one in theaters. I have not seen the second one.
I don't think I would enjoy this at home. Like I think I can only watch this type of movie in a theater, just because I think there is something kind of special about just like exploring this world.
Yeah, it definitely seems like something you'd like to see in theaters.
Sure. And then like this week they like announced like a game, which I'm like, that actually sounds more up my alley.
Off a game. Yeah, it looks very similar to like if you've played the Far Cry games. It looks kind of like Far Cry, but with an Avatar skin on it. But it looks pretty good. Might have to try it if it goes on sale one day.
Sure. Is that Craven costume from a movie from the 90s? Did you see that costume that like came out?
Oh yeah, I saw. Yeah, that like it was posted, and then some people deleted it, and then they put it back up. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be out there or not, but I saw it.
It looks
good. I would say the game version of Craven looks better. I'll say that.
Yeah. Apparently they were going for like comic book accuracy, and it's like that looks okay.
It looks fine. But here, yeah. I'm a fan of Aaron Taylor Johnson, so I think I'll watch it.
Sure.
And it's a Spider-Man thing. So
I'm very curious. Yeah, I'm very curious because like we got Rhino in there, and we got like it's like rated R, and I'm ready for him to kill some people. So it sounds terrible every time I say it. So let's talk about this news. You DM'd me about it earlier, and you were like, we have to watch this movie, or we have to talk about this news. So I want to transfer over to Twitter really quick. We can talk about this clip. Harrison Ford, bless your heart.
The funniest thing is the way that I read this quote was in the voice of Mark Hamill impersonating Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And then I immediately thought about him saying, "It's not that kind of movie, kid."
Let's watch this really quick. Harrison Ford asking about Red Hall.
About their recent photo from the Captain America set of you. and you had the eagle-eyed viewers noticed you were wearing ripped pants. Might we be seeing a Mr. Ford as the Red Hulk?
What is the Red Hulk?
It is Thaddeus Ross's alter ego. He's gonna Hulk out.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You knew?
I know nothing.
Why didn't you tell me?
Well, someone's gonna tell you, and I hope it happens.
Well, may or may not.
About
Harrison Ford's great.
I love this man.
Guy.
He's so great.
So genuine.
Do you think this is real, or do you think he's kind of playing it up?
I think like every time he has a comment like that, like half of it is just like press, like that's how you're supposed to answer those types of questions. But I think the other half is like he is also kind of maybe just like not in the know.
Yeah.
Like they're probably just like, hey, we're gonna put some motion capture dots on your face. Don't worry about it. And he's like, okay. I don't imagine Harrison Ford reads read really any comics. Yeah. But maybe he did. Maybe he knows all about Red Hulk, and he's read every single comic there possibly is, and he's just the greatest actor of all time in this interview. Very possible. Yeah. Very possible.
I could see it going either way. He also just seems like an actor that like tries to put his all into like these roles. Yeah. Like I really do think he's that type of actor. But he's also the kind of actor who's like, I don't care. I mean,
he wanted Han Solo to die.
Yeah.
He was waiting for it to happen.
Why do you think he's doing this? Like is it money, do you think? Or do you think like he actually wants to do a movie like this?
I think maybe it's like you get to a stage in your acting career and there's so many things that you've done, but there's also so many things that you haven't done. And the fact that this is a part CGI character, if we actually get Red Hulk, the fact that he does get to do some mocap, maybe some voiceover, something that he hasn't actually done, maybe that kind of appealed to him as like, oh, well, I can kind of check that off the good old acting bucket list.
Sure.
But I mean, I'm sure it was Marvel Disney money as well.
Mm-hmm. And he also gets to play a villain. I don't think he normally gets to do the bad guy, which I am very excited. I think he's going to be one of the highlights of those movies.
Oh yeah. And
it kind of just hit me like how like he's kind of part of all the like Disney like universes. Like he's he's indie and he's Star Wars and now he's Marvel and now it's I'm very excited to see him as Red Hulk. And like, do you think we'll see him as Red Hulk?
I hope so. Are we gonna actually see it? I don't know, but I would lean more towards yes than no on that one if we're doing the 50-50 again.
Sure. I think you cast Harrison Ford for a reason. Like I think he's going to be a massive part. Like even if he's not Red Hulk here, maybe he's Red Hulk in
Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts, yeah. I can definitely see that. Because I think he might be one of our main villains of this arc, of this
like
couple...
like the main boss of this little mini arc here.
I think we might have three. Like I think we have Kang, we have Harrison Ford. It's not the character's name. Yeah, Ross, and then maybe Kingpin as well. Because I think and maybe Kingpin goes into the street level. Yeah, I think we're doing, and I actually really like that. I like having like three kind of main storylines going.
Because aren't we supposed to be getting Echo at the end of the year?
Yeah,
but that's dropping all at once. So
that's going to be an interesting stream. That's going to be an interesting.
All right, guys, we stayed up all night watching every single episode until the sun came up, and let's just talk about it. If I fall asleep, just yell.
Just a 10-hour watch party. I do want to thank chat. I always love when chat's active. Like that's always my preferred way to chat.
Thank you, chat.
Noah said, "Who are your guesses for the new members for the new Avengers, new/young Avengers?" He guesses Kate Bishop, Peter Parker, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, maybe Daredevil. So do you think we're going to get Avengers and Young Avengers, or do you just think it's going to be one giant team of 60 people?
I mean, I think they're all going to come together in the two big Avengers movies, but I think we're going to be maybe forming some side teams.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're going to be getting a Young Avengers. Kate Bishop leading them would definitely make a lot of sense. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Yeah. I want to see more Kate Bishop. I think that she was great in Hawkeye. I definitely want to see more of that character. I know, Miss Marvel could definitely be a part of that as well.
100%.
There's rumors that we're going to be getting one of Wanda's kids in the Agatha series,
Yeah.
so he could possibly be in that as well. There's like Hulkling rumors, possibly, bringing back Kid Loki, maybe throw Alligator Loki in there too. Maybe he can be a young Avenger as well. So
Guardians
I'm
also
excited.
Guardians also brought us a like younger character that we could probably throw in there. Like out of these that you mentioned, I would split these up between the two teams. Like I think She-Hulk's way too old. Daredevil, way too old, unless they lead them, which could be cool. Like I like the idea of Peter Parker like maybe leading an older like as like a mentor type character.
I mean, yeah. So I know a lot of people have thrown around the idea of him even going to the Young Avengers, but that seems like a demotion.
Yeah,
no. I wouldn't like that. But maybe establishing this team, like, hey,
sure.
I was the youngest Avenger at one point. Now you guys can have a team of your own or something like that. But I think like characters like She-Hulk, Daredevil, maybe even starting up their own kind of like a new era of Defenders. And I know that there's rumors that we could even see like Jessica Jones come back at some point as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we could maybe get like a Defenders 2.0 type of thing, and maybe throw Echo in there as well.
That'd be cool.
So
yeah, I'm actually very curious. I would love if Matt was on the Avengers. I think that'd be.
I just want Daredevil and everything. I just want more of him.
That'd be such a treat for all those people who waited so long. Like to see him next to like War Machine and Thor, like that'd be insane for so many people. I have a hard time thinking he's not in one of these Avengers movies. Like even if he's not a Avenger, I bet he's in there somewhere.
Oh yeah, he's got to be.
Because he's such a big part of this arc. Like he's in Echo, and he has his own show, and he was in She-Hulk. Like he's in so much. So
yeah.
All right, let's move on here. Let's move back up here. Next up we have Venom 3. So it is reportedly that it's going to release in October of 2024. This is not a shock to me, but I did want to bring it up because apparently Venom 3 and Joker 2 are going to come out in the same month, which I find very funny. Is like these two properties of villain comic book heroes without their main comic book like hero, I guess. Are you excited for Venom 3 at all? Are you ready for this movie?
I was a fan of Venom 1. I liked Venom 1 a lot when a lot of people didn't. I loved it. I had a lot of fun reviewing that movie when it came out. I have a good memory of seeing it. Venom 2 was a little all over the place. I definitely regret paying to see that movie.
Oh, really?
But I think Venom 3 could be really good. I like Tom Hardy as Venom. I like the kind of design of Venom, and I think if the direction that they're going with the Sonyverse is any indication, I think Venom 3 could possibly even be like the strongest of the three of the trilogy. But I'm holding out hope that it'll be good, and who knows, that maybe Venom 3 could tie into the MCU, and this could be how Tom Holland Peter gets the symbiote at some point as well.
Do you think we finally see a Spider-Man?
I hope so.
Someone in here?
I would hope so. I've been always under the assumption that the Spider-Man of Venom's world is Andrew Garfield, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows?
Do you think that what we saw in a movie recently would go against that?
I don't know.
I don't want to spoil it for those maybe in the chat who haven't seen it.
I'm trying to dance around it. I'll just say I think the multiverse is very open. We'll say that. I think the multiverse is very open. I think anything's possible at this point.
That would be my dream. Would be Andrew, because I just love Andrew. Like I want him to like you have your main like MCU thing, then give Andrew the like Sonyverse, make like 3 movies for him like over there, and then if Toby wants to come back,
he's like the mentor Spider-Man.
Yeah, and like the thing is they've set it up perfectly where you can just let these guys have movies again, and everyone will be like, yeah, like this is connected in this way. Like there's no reason to be like, well, like baby explain it to people who may not get it. Like they explained it perfectly, where they can just go off and have their own movies now.
Yeah. Oh, you made me think of something. Do you remember the theory that Tobey Maguire was going to be MCU Uncle Ben?
Toby?
Yeah. Do you remember that theory?
I probably. I've heard people say it throughout the years. That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, I think that would be great. But obviously, it can't happen now after No Way
Oh
Home,
no!
because he would have recognized him. That would have just been great, though. It's like, you look a lot like Uncle
like
Ben.
a John Wesley Shipp thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I would have loved that, but maybe next time.
Taj, not a fan of Venom. I get it. I think for me, they are the pure definition of a guilty pleasure movie.
Oh
like,
yeah,
they're just so much fun.
Turn your brain off and enjoy.
Oh yeah, they are bad. Like they're not good movies. Like they're clearly
Yeah.
not well-made movies. But they're so much fun to just see Venom eat people's heads off and go to raids and it's a lot of fun.
Eminem Venom. I will
There
not
was
sing
also-
it for copyright reasons.
Wasn't there a rumor that not Tom Hiddleston, Owen Wilson was like in Venom 3? Wasn't that
that Mobius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty interesting.
I don't know what's going on with that, but
Yeah,
that'd be great.
I think that may have just been a rumor, but also like that could be
again,
kinda fun.
anything's possible. Anything's
Mhm.
possible. I don't know what's
And-
going
and
on
then they
with
casted-
Loki season 2, though.
Yeah,
It's
and
getting
then they
pushed
also
back or
casted the
something.
guy from Doctor Strange, Moto.
Mordo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we think that's the same character, or is it just like recast, or is it like?
I don't know. I mean, again, there's always a possibility that it could be the same character, but since it is Sonyverse, it could be a completely different character as well, and they're
Sure.
just reusing the actor.
Robert went to the bathroom. I don't really think Toby really needs more films. I don't need him to get more films, but if he wants to come back and they want $1 billion, I'm fine with it.
Spider-Man
Especially-
4 with what's his name? The guy that Sam Raimi puts in everything as Mysterio. Bruce Campbell. Yes.
Didn't they want Vulture for or no 3? They wanted Vulture for 3, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I
Not
think
for
that
that.
I think they were gonna do a Mysterio for season
Interesting.
4, movie 4. But then that also makes me think of the game where Mysterio was a boss. You go up and you punch him once, and then he just like his health part just dies.
Sure. I wonder who you would, because I feel like you need maybe Mysterio would be like a good like old Spider-Man villain, I guess.
Mhm.
Like someone that can like mess with his head. I don't know. MCU symbiote, who do you think gets it? Peter, Tom Hardy doppelganger, Eddie, Flash. I think Peter probably gets it. I feel like that's what most people want, because that's a big part of the Secret War comic, right? That's like a
I
big...
believe so. Yeah, as he has the black suit in Secret Wars, if I'm remembering things correctly.
Yeah, I remember rumors, and you can't trust Twitter rumors. I never do that, but like I do remember people hearing or saying like he will be one of the main focuses of that movie. Will be Spider-Man with like the black suit.
Yeah, literally, you just look up Spider-Man Secret Wars. First thing that comes up is Spider-Man in that classic-looking black suit. So, yes, we are correct.
Noah says, I can't imagine MCU Flash ever becoming Venom. MCU Flash is stuck-up rich boy. Maybe. I always thought they could, but it'd be a very different Flash, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they could do like Agent Venom with him, maybe.
Maybe. I mean,
I know
maybe
the
the fact
animated
that
shows
he
have
is
done
like maybe the fact that he is this like spoiled rich kid could lean into his story about
that. Yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
wanting to be more and like wanting to get revenge on Peter because he wants his life or something. I don't know. He's actually one I wouldn't mind seeing again if changed. Like I think
Yeah, I
out of
I didn't mind the actor at all.
like I want a break from like MJ and Ned, but like if he came back in 4, I'm fine. Greetings, how's it going? Let's
Hello.
move on here because we got a lot to get to
What's
tonight.
next?
So last week we talked about that Miles Morales short film,
Yes.
and apparently we got some new news one I'm very excited about. Apparently, it's about Miles experiencing anxiety attack, which manifests through a dark figure representing his alter ego, as well as a imaginary infestation of spiders in his bedroom. What are your thoughts on this? Are you excited for our Miles Morales Spider-Verse short film?
I'm excited for anything else Spider-Verse, especially in that same animation style. I know they released an image and it looks like it's ripped straight from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But if I ever saw a manifestation of an infestation of spiders in my bedroom,
Oh,
I would
that
be
sounds
getting
terrible.
I would be getting a new bedroom.
I'd be moving.
Goodbye. That's it. I'm done. As much as I love Spider-Man, I hate spiders. Nope.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, that sounds terrible. I can't do bugs. I really can't. Yeah, no, this sounds fun. I'm excited. Again, I'm kind of shocked it hadn't come out already because it takes place before across the Spider-Verse, so it's kind of
I think it was because they were showing it off at like a film festival.
Sure.
And then they'll most likely release it as like it'll probably be a special feature on the home release, so you'll get it when you get the digital or the 4K with the Blu-ray and all that stuff. So
there's been a lot of talks about if like Across the Spider-Verse could like win an Oscar, but I wonder if this could win like short film.
Yeah, it could.
That'd be very cool. That would be cool if they won. If they came home with like 2 wins, that'd be really cool. So keeping up with the Marvel news, Zazie Beetz, hopefully I'm pronouncing that name right, says she's not in Deadpool 3 as the Domino character from Deadpool 2. Are you upset about this, or are you fine? She's not in here.
I mean, I kind of figured that she wouldn't be in there just because it didn't seem like it was going to be carrying on that same like team up from the last movie. It seemed like it's very much so just Wolverine Deadpool buddy cop movie, so it didn't really feel like that there was any room for this character. Would I like to see her pop back up at some point? Definitely. I thought she was a great part of Deadpool 2, but just wasn't expecting to see the character in Deadpool 3 at all.
I would agree, but they are bringing back that like other parachute guy from 2.
Oh.
I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, but he's just like this like random guy that they take with them. Yeah, like he's coming back.
What was the guy's name?
I don't remember.
I forget. It's just like it was like a random just like a normal name. It was just a normal name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's coming back. Yeah, you can probably find it on Twitter. Just type in Deadpool 3 or whatever.
Looking through the cast list. I don't know. Can't remember.
That is okay.
Chat, help us out, please. Oh, Peter. That's what his name is.
Is it just Peter?
It's Peter.
Okay.
There you go.
He was great. Again, very curious about Deadpool 3. So up next, kind of leading out into Marvel. Again, we don't normally talk about like streaming services and business, but I did find this very interesting. So Netflix has had the largest spike in their user sign-ins since January 2019 after they introduced their new anti-password sharing crackdown rules. I think in this industry of streaming services, monkey see, monkey do. I have a feeling many other streaming services are going to be like, well, they're getting more money for cracking down. I think we're next.
I hope not.
Were you affected by this at all?
No, not at the moment. But I know that it definitely will affect people, especially like say if you have family members that are going to school, family members that live in the same house for part of the year and aren't there at other times. Like that's kind of weird. I don't know how it works if you're traveling. That's something that I haven't had to experience yet. But I don't know if you go to Comic-Con. Can you sign into your Netflix account if you're not at home? Who knows?
Sure.
So I think it's a weird system. I haven't looked too deep into like what the fine print is on it, but just on a surface level, it just seems very weird that they would change the way this service has worked forever. But
sure.
I mean, obviously we know why. Money. So
yeah, no, I mean, I get it to a certain extent. I just and I'm fine with people like I get you don't want to have someone share their account with all their uncles and your cousins and your, like, I understand that. I hope in the future at least they can find a way to make it easier for, again, your college students or your, you know, again, like you're traveling or, you know, find a way to make it easier for them. But like, I understand it to an extent. Like, that's something that my family does. Like my dad will just pass out, oh, you can have my Netflix account and you can have, and you can have, and you can, you know, that's something my dad does all the time. So, you know, that's enough for him, I suppose. And like, there's stuff where I'll have like a friend like, oh, here, you can have my Disney Plus account. I don't care, you know.
It's basically like if you ever game shared with anybody back in the day on like Xbox or whatever. It's like, oh, I'll sign into my account on your console and you can play all the games that I have. So,
absolutely. Robert said he's seen The Flash in 12 hours.
Well, enjoy it. Enjoy it.
I am very excited. That's obviously one of our topics today, but Thursday I think I'm doing a double feature of Elementals and Flash, like back to back, and I'm so excited.
Speaking of double feature, are we going to do the Barbie Oppenheimer double feature?
100%. I cannot wait.
See it in 70mm film the way it was intended.
I just can't decide which way I want to go. If I want to do like dark and gritty first, and then just kind of like let that fun wash over me with Barbie, or do Barbie first and then be like depressed.
I think the only way to do it is Oppenheimer first, and then you're like, your eyes are melted, your eardrums have exploded. And then you drag yourself to the next theater, and then you go see Barbie, and you just chill.
I'm really excited for both. I think both are going to be really. I think Barbie is going to be. I think it's going to be really good. Like I think
going to make $1 billion Barbie bucks.
I don't know how well it's going to do. I think it actually might do like really well, because I think next month is a lot chiller than this month. Like,
oh yeah,
next month is a lot more breathing room than this month.
There's a lot going on right now.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited. I saw The Flash last night here. I'm very glad, very, very glad. Just don't spoil it, and we're good. I will say, guys, Flash
spoilers are everywhere at this point.
Have you seen anything?
Oh yeah, I've seen so much stuff. Okay. You can't avoid it. But here's the thing: as like I see things and I'm like, is this even real? Like this could be Photoshop. I don't know. So, but here's the thing: I'm not even going to think about it when I go into the movie. I'm not even going to remember what random spoilers I saw on this random day, a few days before I actually see it. So it doesn't bother me. I will say spoilers used to bother me a lot more when I was a lot younger. Like I would get very upset if somebody would spoil a movie for me. But nowadays I'm very, very numb to it. I'm just like, oh, okay. And then I continue. Because it's all about the experience of actually seeing it yourself. If you see this random screenshot that somebody took on their phone from the back row and it's, angled and it looks bad, it's like, and it's out of context too. So it's like, this doesn't mean anything. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I saw two things and neither's like surprised me. Like what I've seen have been a lot of things we've been seeing on the internet for like 5 years now, where it's like, oh, that could be a thing.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because the entirety of like Star Wars Episode 9, basically that entire movie leaked, like details leaked before it came out, and then you just watch through it and it's like a checklist. It's like, all right, this happened, this happened, this happened. So.
Yeah, I think this might be one of the worst I've seen of just like people like blatantly just spoiling it. Like no spoiler tags.
Because they've been showing the movie for like a month.
Sure.
So it's just so many people have already seen it at this point. It's kind of, there's not really a massive like don't spread spoilers type of thing going around. Like I know that they did that for a lot of Marvel movies, like especially around like Endgame, Infinity War time. They would like post on their socials like, hey, don't spread spoilers. But they're just inviting people to fan events and just it's a free for all.
Yeah. And also there's a lot of hate into this movie. Like there's a lot of people who are like, hey, suck it. Like this is what's
so they're just out of pure spite spoiling it for people that haven't seen it. But if you care about spoilers, definitely stay off the internet until you see the movie for yourself.
Noah says, "I'm a Barbie girl in a blank, blank, blank." What did he want to say here? I have no
believe that
idea.
would be in a Barbie world.
No, totally not.
in an Oppenheimer world.
maybe. Schreiner said, "Wow, the actor who played Sam was offered 3 episodes for season 4, but declined."
Oh,
where
so
did you see that?
Not...
I would love to know.
Please link the source. I would love to know.
That I wonder why. Is it just like because he wanted to try and get on like a new show for next fall?
I don't know. So if he doesn't show up at all, that'd be really weird.
Yeah. I would kind of hate that.
That's not looking good.
And then Chainsaw tweeted it. Well, Chainsaw is not like a source. Did like he send a source? I love Chainsaw. I'm not saying he's lying. I'm just saying. Chainsaw reacts.
Oh, it was from the direct.
Direct. They're pretty reliable, right? Most of the time.
Let's see.
Here, let me share my screen.
So just special effects. Trying to see where the quote would be from him. You've got it pulled up. I'll let you go through that.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the official quote here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to see all that. Yeah, no, I believe this source at least.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty reliable, but that's weird that he's
sucks.
not even going to be recurring for a couple of episodes. Like maybe they just didn't want to pay like anything to have him come back. But he's such a big character, like, and I like General Sam Lane. Like he's great. I'm gonna miss him.
I think he's I do honestly think he was one of the easiest to write off though.
Yeah.
Because I kind of thought they may have been after season 1 because it kind of felt like he's just.
Yeah, he's probably just gonna retire again or something.
Yeah.
Or he'll just be like, "Oh, I just talked to Sam at the DOD and this, that, and the other." So.
I think, do you think we'll have like a new person there, or do you think we're like done with like the whole DOD stuff? Because I feel like they might want to get rid of that whole set. It might be a lot cheaper.
We might be done with the whole DOD, especially if we go to Metropolis.
Yeah,
we might just be done with it.
That sucks. I wonder if the other actors got like you can show up in 1 or 2 episodes and then,
right. It was kind of like we're gonna pay you very little to show up in like a handful of episodes. Or you don't show up at all. What do you want to do? And maybe it was just better for him to go pursue another job. Yeah. So
he could like be in 3 episodes this whole year, or he can go cold turkey and get
go be a regular on a show that actually has a budget.
100%.
And I know
I'm very
from
nervous.
An acting perspective, that's obviously the right decision is to pick a more stable job.
Yeah, I mean, what was it last year? I think it was like with Legends and Batwoman, where like they didn't know if they were getting canceled or not, and they kind of had to miss out on the next season
on,
of
pilot
TV.
Season and all that stuff. Yeah, and I know that was very difficult for crew members as well, especially. So
yeah, a couple of episodes isn't work. Wouldn't be surprising if true. Yeah, no, that sucks. And, I don't think that's really anyone's fault. Like, I'm not blaming CW for this. I get, like, you're cutting back. In this case, I don't blame them, but it definitely is unfortunate. And again, I wonder who else was offered that. Like, was Sarah offered, like, okay, you could show up in 3 episodes, or Lana or Kyle, or whatever.
Right.
So, we will see. All right, next up here. Oh, well. Perfectly.
Oh, wow. I think we kind of already talked about that.
Yeah. No. So yeah, I mean, this has been the thing we've been slowly talking about this episode. Obviously, Superman Lois has been officially renewed for its 4th season. Just kind of right off the bat, how are you kind of feeling about the show getting officially a fourth season?
I'm glad that it's continuing. Like that's the main thing here. Even if it's with a lower budget, even with less episodes, I'm just glad that the show's coming back in one form or another. I was still kind of holding out hope that it would go through with that HBO Max deal, because it seemed like if they did get picked up by Max, that it would have been maybe the opposite of this, is a higher budget. But the fact that it is staying on the CW, but it's just, with some cutbacks, it's better than not continuing at all.
Yeah, I kind of had my hopes up that it maybe would have gone to Max. Like, I was like, oh, it's Max or nothing at this point. And I was wrong. It got a fourth season. Very shocked by it. I guess I think it's smart to have at least a couple of like standout shows, to at least weave your way out. So I think I said forever ago that Superman, Lois, and Walker were like, it'd be very dumb if they didn't keep at least those two standout shows. And then you have All American and then Homecoming as well, which is their franchise. Like that could be their franchise. Like if they want, they can do All American Country or something, like most of these other networks have. They're like NCIS and then NCIS Los Angeles. They can totally do that. At least until they get their feet on the ground, because I know they have a lot of these other shows from like across sea and stuff, and from like Canada, and I wonder if any of those can be, I don't know, like I guess like franchisable for them. They can like boost them out, because like, I know the only one I could think of is that like Librarians like sequel series. Like I wonder, because that's a scripted show as well, right? That's new.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, but a lot of the other stuff they've acquired is just stuff that's already finished up, but just something that they can air in place of new content, but stuff that they already know has been popular elsewhere.
Absolutely. Noah asked you, do either of you have Discord servers? Taz, do you have a Discord?
I do not. But it's funny that you mentioned that. I kind of was thinking about something like that earlier today, very randomly. I was like, oh, we should maybe try to start up like a DC community server, just like a comic book fandom server or something like that. I know a lot of larger channels definitely have that and have the fan base for it, but I'd be down at some point for sure.
Absolutely. I do have a Discord server. We don't talk too much on it. But if you want, at the end, I can send you the link for that. I have it pinned, like I have it down in my thing, but like it expires. Like it expires after 2 weeks. So
I don't know how to. Those are
I heard there's a workaround around it, but I could never get it. I was very surprised, all things considered, that CW renewed it. Whether confirmed as final season or not, I do hope they write it as an actual final, writing on the wall. Yeah, I think this is something that we've both kind of talked about yesterday. Do you think this is the final season? Like, do you think 4 is it, or do you think we could possibly get a season 5?
They're not advertising it as the final season, but usually when they significantly cut back the episode count like it is, that's usually a sign that it is the final season. I can't remember what the order of like news coming out was for The Flash. Like if we found out that season 9 was the last season and then they told us the episode count, or we were told the episode count and then we were told that it was the last season. I can't remember what the order of that was. I wouldn't be surprised if season 4 is the final season. But the fact that they're not advertising it as such maybe means that they could potentially squeeze out another season at that shortened 10 episode count. But if it will be the end, I hope that they do something similar to like Stargirl and give us a proper send off for the show.
I definitely think of it as the final season. We will hear about that within the next couple months, because that's what happened with most of these other shows. I know The Flash, they announced it first, and it was just, okay, season 9 is happening. But we kind of all were like, oh, it's probably the final season. Everything else is getting canceled. And then they announced, what was it, a 13 shortened final season. And Black Lightning was the same thing. Like, they announced it, and then a couple months later, oh yeah, it's the final season. It airs in like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope they just get plenty of notice. If they don't know that it's the final season and then it turns out to be the final season, I just hope that they get plenty of advance notice to write that in to the show itself. But the fact that they gave it another season after supposedly we're ending on a big cliffhanger here for season 3, I think that at least the network kind of knows how popular the show is and how much an actual ending means, especially with how they've had that misstep in the past with Batwoman and Legends ending those shows prematurely without a definitive end.
Yeah, no, I think it was incredibly dumb of them to even try a cliffhanger. Like Legends last year, I understood because we didn't know the scope of what CW was doing, or just like what the entertainment business was doing. Where like we were under the old logic of like, oh, if you have a cliffhanger, you're more likely to get another season. That's how it used to work. But like after Superman and Lois, seeing Titans and Doom Patrol and Legends and Batwoman and Stargirl, I don't see how you could have been like, oh, we'll be fine. We're gonna get another. Like, that's absurd to me.
Yeah. Again, I think that it's definitely setting them up for a nice spot. And if I'm trying to think about when this would air, if this season would run us into Superman Legacy, or if they could possibly squeeze a 5th season in between the end of season 4 and the release of Superman Legacy. But it just all depends on how fast they're actually able to get back to filming. Since this was a pretty late pickup, I definitely wouldn't expect them to air until at least beginning of 2024 at the earliest.
Yeah, no, I would say I feel like this could be a spring 2024, because like this is normally a like January type show anyway. But with writer strikes going on, and I assume CW gonna be doing things a little bit differently. I would say probably either like late winter, early spring. I could even see maybe even a summer for the show. I'm not really sure.
Right, like a very, very much so a mid-season premiere.
Yeah. But I think season 5 would be 2025 if we got 20. And I don't know if James Gunn's like, well, let's cancel it now because I have a movie coming out. Like, I don't think he cares. Like, I think he understands
right, and the fact that it's under that Elseworlds banner.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, we have 2 Batmans going on, and we got.
Yeah, there's definitely room for multiple interpretations of Superman to be airing at the same time.
Sure, I mean we have the like main movie, and then we also have the Elseworld movie happening. The Black Superman. So. Yeah, I again, I would have loved if this could have gone over to Max and like been under that Elseworld banner. Like, I think that would have been such a large win. And it seems like James Gunn likes the show. Like he seems to have talked high praise of the series. So I don't know.
How would you feel about like a movie to wrap up the series? Like
cool.
A movie after season 4 ends.
That'd be
interesting. That like a straight to Max movie or something.
Theatrical? That'd be cool. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I'd be fine. That'd be kind of cool. I don't think that'd ever happen, but I'd be very down. So do you care about the like 10 episode season? Are you angry that we got?
No, I don't mind that it's a shorter episode season. I think a lot of shows honestly drag out way too long. I know a lot of people had an issue with like the Marvel Netflix formula of 13 episodes, and they were like, oh, if they were 10 episodes it would have been better because it would have been a lot more concise. And this season was 13 episodes, but I feel like we could have been done like this week. We could have, or last week I guess you could say, with episode 11, and there was definitely some stuff you could have cut in the middle in there. This season could have easily been 10 episodes as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's an issue at all. I think it'll only make it more concise with less filler. Not that there's a lot of filler with this show anyway, but
yeah. I'm trying to look. Season 1, I love season 1. I think it was perfect. But like looking back on it, it probably could have cut 1 or 2 episodes to make it a little bit tighter. And even season 2, which I like season 2. I think I like it more than most. But Like there are bits where like you could have cut some of that down, made it like one straight story.
Yeah, I think
and I
like
think
8 to 13 is the sweet spot for a lot of
Oh,
shows
yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah, I think there's something kind of sad to like think about that like 23 episode thing is over forever. Like I don't know if a primetime TV show will ever have 22 episodes a season ever again, which is insane
Yeah.
to think about. And I will miss it a little bit, but 10's fine for Superman and Lois. I think that works for them.
What's next on the news board?
Completely agree, Darren. I thought they may have jinxed themselves into cancellation by doing an epic cliffhanger. A little glad they didn't. So actually takes us pretty great transition here. So of course Tyler Hoechlin chatted with a lot of people yesterday. He got like an award for being Superman, I suppose. The way I said it was
the
funny.
Greatest interpretation of Superman possible.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy, and I do want to say like this news came out on Superman Day, which again we don't know if that was planned, but if it was, that's awesome. Like I love you guys. Like I'm fine now. I'm okay with us having to wait all this time. If it meant that we could have got this news on Superman. But he obviously hypes up, like they've been hyping up this series, the season finale. Like he said, let's say, I don't know if it's here or not. Something is coming at the end of the season, and that's all I can say. But it's amazing. I can't wait for you guys to see it. It's the main reason I hope we continue the series, and it's a really epic that they didn't end it. So when I first saw this, and I don't know if it was Tyler that said it, but there was another like article that said like he had said that like it's one of the greatest Superman moments ever, and like it's one of the best moments in the show. This piece here though, like this quote, I was like my first thought was like, are they like crossover stuff? Like is this like are they gonna open a portal and Flash flies in or something? Because I know how much Tyler loves the Flash crew and the Supergirl crew.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think this cliffhanger is? Because I have 3 in my mind where I'm like, I could see something like this happening. What do you think it is?
Realistically, they've been kind of sort of building towards Death of Superman, and I think that there's a lot of evidence to say that that's what they're building towards, that we're going to see Doomsday, that the big cliffhanger is Superman's dead, and then we're going to start next season with the reign of the Supermen. I think that that's like the safe bet at this point now. I mean, other options could just be something Bizarro related. Maybe we'll get him speaking opposite. Like, I don't know. Bizarro loves Superman, but Bizarro hates Superman. So who knows?
Will you marry Bizarro? I think that's my number one, because I think it makes like the most sense with everything we've seen. There's obviously been rumors of Doomsday, this theme of death this season with like Lois. I think could be a nice little through line. If like we spend the whole season worrying about with Lois dies and we end it with Superman dying, would be kind of crazy. We obviously have all this set up for the like reign of the Superman. Like we have a Superboy, we have a Steel, maybe, I don't know if we still will. We have the Eradicator somewhere. And I think it could be pretty easy to do a cyborg Superman. Like that was my theory going into this season, is that we would get the like John Henry Irons of this Earth and make him like our cyborg Superman.
I just thought of something really funny. The fact that they're cutting back the cast, right? Imagine they have Tyler Hoechlin just play like all these different versions of Superman. Like it's like a who's on first type of situation. So it's like, all right, Bizarro, Tyler Hoechlin, normal Superman, Tyler Hoechlin, like cyborg Superman, it's him as well, and it's just like he's just riffing off of himself the entire season, and it's just like everyone is him because they can't afford to get anybody else in.
Sure, that
might be hilarious.
I guess that's their way of having him dead for a while and also paying him at the same time.
That's true too. That's true.
Or
they could just have them be different characters.
Pay less actors. Less actors. Just pay Tyler for 5 characters.
He's just everyone.
Yeah. I think that's a possibility. My second one I think could happen is some other comic book type character coming in. Maybe not anymore now that we know the budget's less. But
Mhm.
I was thinking like a Kara pod, like the Kara's pod crashes, or like a Martian Manhunter, or something.
Crypto.
Kind of cool. And lastly, either I could see a crossover. I could see something like that happening, or it's something kind of lame, like Lex kidnapping like Jordan or something. And he's like, he's mine now. See ya, Clark, or something.
Yeah, I mean,
which sets
I
up.
think Lex will be involved in some way, but who knows? Because I think he's also one of the other regulars for next season.
Yes.
As well. It's most likely just gonna be Clark, Lois, the boys, and Lex, are who we're gonna see pretty much every episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's go back to that actually. Like let's talk about who we think are gone. I kind of want to go through each character and talk about our like likelihoods of those characters happening. So obviously we have the main four. I think we can confirm they're
Yeah, I think
they're
that's pretty safe. Pretty safe bet.
Yeah, I there's like maybe a small chance you like get rid of a Jonathan, but I don't think that's very likely. Like I think
I mean, you could definitely do the show with the
Yeah.
boys not being there every episode, but the fact that it's such a family-oriented
Oh,
series and they've
they
been such a
shouldn't.
big part of the show, they need to be
Yeah,
regulars.
no,
They
yeah,
need to be in every episode.
I 100% agree. I'm just thinking from like a business standpoint, if they could be
Right.
like, so do you need both kids? Like, could you get rid of one and still make it work? That's the mindset I could see them going down. Again, I'd hate that. I don't want them to do it. Like, I would rather the show get canceled than that happen. And then I think the ones I'm most worried about are like the Irons, because they're such a major part of the show. I could see it going either way. I will say if they come back, I guarantee they will not have those suits. I think.
Yeah, outside of like maybe the finale.
Yeah, they will pull a Stargirl and just have it like destroy the entire time, which they already kind of do. Like,
yeah, they haven't really been suiting up much this season at all.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So yeah, I'm fine with that. I think we can say the Cushings are tough because I think Kyle is gone for sure. There's no way Kyle sticks around. I think he's so easy. He doesn't do much as is.
Yeah.
I cannot see them paying Kyle. Sarah and Lana, I think, are dependent on if they stay in Smallville. Because if they stay in Smallville, you need Lana. Unless she like gets fired or something. I think you need Lana around. Sarah is kind of interesting because I could see a world where Sarah, like Lana stays and Sarah goes.
Yeah.
But you have to write around it. So like Sarah's at summer camp or something, or Sarah's went on she went to go live with her dad for a couple months, something like that. And then we only have Lana. Like I've seen TV shows do that all the time where it's like, well, it wouldn't make sense if this character's here and this one stays, but it's like, well, we needed her to stay, so that's it. Even like look at the Flash, like Joe left and then Cecile stayed. Like they can make it work. If they move cities though, I think they're all just gone.
Yeah. Again, outside of maybe a premiere and a finale, that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Chrissy, do we think we're done with Chrissy?
Especially if we're out of Smallville. Especially if we're out of Smallville, she doesn't really need to be there because she's only there because of the Gazette. And if we're going to go back to Metropolis, then Daily Planet time.
Sure. Is that everyone?
I
obviously
believe so.
Bruno and all of them will probably be gone.
Right. But I think Lex is that fill in for Bruno.
Yeah.
So.
And then Sam is officially gone, which again sucks. I'm feeling these next couple of days we'll be learning a lot about these like remaining characters and where they fit in.
Yeah, and if not, they'll probably tell us in like an interview article thingy once the finale airs in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Oops. Let's catch up on some of this chat. Black Lightning ended because behind the scenes. Yeah, I mean, I don't like saying that too much because there's been nothing's come out about that. So I don't like but it was very clear that there was behind the scene drama. And also like wasn't their most popular show either. Like I think the show was very much a soft cancellation. Like it wasn't pulling in great numbers for them, and all
so
this
they were
like
just like,
drama. Yeah,
it's like it's not a massive loss for the network at that point. Just a big loss as far as the character goes.
Yeah. You know, it sucks. I wish, because I did not like season 4 of Black Lightning. It was not one of my favorites. I would have liked to have seen what they did with season 5 and 6, because apparently there was one. Journey says, I don't trust Max with the show. I don't know. I trust Max more than CW, I think. I guess it's hard to say because we haven't seen Max for long. Like, we don't know what that... I mean, obviously it's mainly just HBO, but we don't know what their quality of shows are yet, and to see kind of like what they're doing and kind of what their style is, I guess.
Yeah, and I think in many ways it doesn't really matter where the show airs. It just matters the crew behind it and the budget.
Mm-hmm.
These are just places for it to air. These are just publishers at the end of the day. It's not like they're I don't at least I don't think so. I don't think they have a lot of creative control over what happens with the show. They just say, "Oh, it's popular, you're continuing. It's not popular, we're canceling you." Like that's the type of thing I think that they're really involved in. And it really just boils down to the crew, the writers' room, the cast, that type of thing.
Do you think they could cut some of the other parts of the show, like the writers or like social media people?
I don't know. It's always possible that we might get a lot less promotion, like maybe fewer trailers, fewer posters. We've already seen it with like promo images. If you think back at how we used to get galleries of like 10 to 20 screenshots per episode per show, and now you're lucky if you get more than like 1 or 2. So
it's bad. But I'm hoping maybe like. It's weird because I think the first half was really good. Like we've been getting those like behind the scene stuff and those previews again. So I don't know. It's weird. Noah says I don't really understand the Superman season 2 hate. Someone please enlighten me. I like season 2. I think it's still good. I just think it's a step down from season 1, and I think. Go ahead.
No. I just think it all boils down to the villain. Like the villain just was not quite as strong as season 1. I think quality-wise, the show was on the same level that it was in season 1. I just don't think that Parasite was as compelling of a villain as Morgan Edge in season 1. I think that that's really what it boils down to, and it was just it's kind of like a movie that somewhat falls apart in the third act.
Yeah,
it's like it's very strong. First, second act, and then you just big giant CGI monster fight or something like, and then it's just like, oh, okay, it was a good movie, but the ending wasn't quite as strong as I would have hoped.
Yeah, I think there's like just little stuff that kind of drags it down slightly for me. Like I still would say Superman Lois has not had a bad episode. Like I think each episode, like, oh, that was a good episode. It's just throughout the season, like there's little stuff like Jonathan, and there's like, why isn't this character doing a thing? Or they'll be like, oh, that was a dumb thing for this character to do. But like, they're still good episodes. Like, they're still well-made episodes. And, there's also the ending of season 2 that I think leaves a lot of like a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. With how they like,
disconnecting it from the Arrowverse and stuff. Yeah.
Again, I don't blame that on the show. Right. But I know. I think that definitely affects it. And I think season 3, and I know a lot of people have not liked season 3. Like I've heard a lot of people say it's their least favorite, but I think it kind of returned to a level of quality that season 2 maybe somewhat dropped. Let me just go through chat here. I'm just worried because for so long there's this has been the season's curse. Oh, the season 4 curse. Yeah, I talked about this over on Twitter. I mean, Supergirl was good in their 4th season. I really love. I hope that her cousin can live that up. But yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of that just running joke. Like Arrow season 4, not the best. Flash season 4 looks good now, but back then we hated it. Like, there was people were like that was the first time where I saw people dropping the show. Where it's like, yeah, I'm done with the show. But like I love it now because it looks like amazing now.
I mean, compared to 7 and 9, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And then Black Lightning, not great. Batwoman never even got to season 4, so that's bad luck there.
Legend season 4, I remember being pretty good.
Oh really?
I believe I don't even know what the villain was for that season, but I and off the top of my head at least. But
Okay.
I feel like I remember it being good, but
I
could be wrong.
hated it.
Oh.
It's my least favorite. Not that you're wrong though. I'm just saying that I personally didn't like it.
What was season 4?
Season 4 was Neron. That was the big Constantine season with like the unicorns and the fairy godmothers.
Okay, yeah, that wasn't too bad.
I think they committed too much to like the whole goofiness. Like I'm fine with goofy, but I felt like they wanted sitcom over an actual story.
Yeah, it was kind of like a jump the shark type of season in many ways.
I liked Ray being a villain. That was fun. Brandon Routh plays a great villain. I'd love for him to do something else with that. Batman is there for 3 seconds. Are you talking about for Superman and Lois?
I think cool. for the finale cliffhanger.
Oh.
And it's Jensen Ackles.
I'm putting together a team, Clark. As the big hype event, it's just Batman Shadow. I'm down. Just to never. Oh, imagine they do that and it's canceled. Like you're just about to get a Batman show. We're like, yes. Just kidding. I feel like Sarah's probably gone. Yeah. If I was a betting man, I'd say she's gone. Did you see the drama between Michael Rosenbaum and Snyder fans today, with Rosenbaum calling Jesse Eisenberg's Lex not grounded and real on his podcast? I did not see the drama.
I did not get to that part of the podcast yet.
Oh, really?
I think I'm like maybe 20-30 minutes in.
I don't know. He didn't call him out by name. He just said, like, don't make him silly. Don't make Lex silly. There was definitely a couple moments where I don't know how far you made it into the podcast, but like James Gunn was calling out like comic book movies. Like he was calling out like this stuff isn't good.
Yeah, no, I mean from what I saw, it was a very, very unfiltered podcast for sure.
Oh yeah, I was shocked.
But that's what I like about Rosenbaum's podcast is like he gets people to say things that you wouldn't normally hear them say. And especially since he's such good friends with James Gunn, it's definitely a very interesting perspective.
Yeah, no. I love the podcast. I love that podcast. I haven't listened for a while. We're gonna skip this because we kind of already talked about the Sam Lane stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Let's jump into Gotham Knights because this is another big one that we've been kind of dreading talking about. So Gotham Knights, on the opposite side of things, have officially been canceled after one season. This was kind of a shock to me. I wasn't shocked, I would say, because I could have seen it going either way with either Superman and Lois. But I thought, kind of going into all this, I thought Gotham Knights was going to be their first pickup, and then maybe All American Homecoming, and then they would cancel Superman and Lois. I really did think that was the one that was going to get canceled, and then maybe it goes to Max, maybe it doesn't, and that's how we would have to roll with things. But Gotham Knights was the one that was canceled. Why do you think this is?
I just think the viewership for them is not there. I feel like it's a show that definitely has its very niche following, and I think the fans that are passionate about it are super passionate about it, and they're very vocal about that passion for the show, and I think that's great. I'm definitely part of the fandom that enjoys the show, that sees the potential there, that has been enjoying it week to week and everything like that. I know you have been enjoying it as well. I kind of drag you into talking about it every time we're on here. But I've been really loving this show, but I just think from a executive perspective, there's such a vocal part of the DC TV community that has hated this show since its inception, basically, and they've been just calling for it to get canceled for so long, and they've just been, not watching the show and still hating on it without even seeing it, which I think is another issue in and of itself. There's so many people that just judge it off of the trailer or judge it just off the pilot and don't actually give it a chance. They don't let the show sit. They don't get to know these characters. They don't get to know the story and dive deep into the mystery. But I feel like if they did, they could find some elements that they would really enjoy here. But it just seems like from an executive level, it just wasn't profitable for them to continue, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's probably all very true. I thought they may have went with it just because of the budget, because this is the cheapest superhero type show that they've ever made. I don't even know if we could properly call it a superhero show. It's more like a murder mystery type show with DC characters.
I've seen a lot of people say that if it wasn't connected to DC, like if these were just all original characters, that it would have continued, that it would have been just kind of like a Riverdale type of murder mystery show, and that it could have continued. And I definitely see that perspective as well.
I actually think people would like it more.
If it was disconnected, if it was again just like a brand new IP with original characters and everything.
Oh yeah, I think Superman is such a strong suit for so many people. Like, they are so defensive of this 80-year-old character and what they do, and I definitely get that. And even early on, I was like, I don't know how I'm feeling about how they are portraying certain things in this Batman world. But as we've kind of gone on, it's like, oh, actually, they actually do care, and it's all kind of part of the story.
Exactly. It's kind of nice. You just gotta wait.
You
gotta wait and let it actually play out. It's like, don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge a show by its pilot and a couple trailers. So
yeah, no, and I definitely think especially in these last four, they have finally found their footing in what this show is. It took a while, but I think it found it quicker than a lot of shows do. Sometimes it takes a season, 2 seasons.
Season 1s can be rough sometimes. Think about Legends season 1. I feel like if Legends season 1 aired right now, it would have gotten canceled.
Oh, 100%.
So
that show is expensive.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It would have gotten made today.
Oh no, 100% not. Yeah, I mean, I prefer this over a lot of our season 1s. Looking back, I probably put this over Legends. I definitely put it over Batwoman.
Yeah.
Supergirl is a weird one because I think Supergirl has a lot of cool stuff in that first season, but there's also a lot of weird stuff. So probably about on par with Supergirl. So we'll see. I'm seeing a lot of people talk about Batwoman. I think the thing about Batwoman that even almost helped it is that since both actresses were women, it had a lot more YouTube presence that got people talking. It wasn't good talk, it wasn't good press, but it's still press, and people were watching those videos.
Unwarranted hate on Batwoman, and that definitely carried over to Gotham Knights, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I personally have seen less of that with Gotham Knights. I've seen a couple of hate videos and being but I haven't seen a lot of this is woke, which if people actually watch, they could have made those videos, because there's some stuff in there that people would call quote unquote woke and all that weird stuff.
I mean, I felt like they honestly did the representation aspect very well.
Really good.
That was something that I mentioned in my most recent video. It's very seamless. It's integrated very well into the show, and I think it's one of the shows that's done it the best, I think, honestly.
Yeah. No. I'm how do you think, because we only have 2 left here. We only have two episodes left. How do you think we're going to wrap this season up? The series finale, if you will.
I think you have a video that shows exactly how this season's going to end.
Okay. The trailer?
No. The video that you showed me before we went live.
Oh. Very true.
Should
I play the video?
Yes, please.
Harvey. No.
Yeah. There we go.
Two-Face. Do you actually think they're gonna go the whole messed up face route?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's been behind the scenes pictures of Misha
Sure.
Collins doing the face molds, and he's like covering up his face, but you can kind of see it. Like it's definitely going to end on a Two-Face cliffhanger. I think that's where it's going to end. I don't know if we're going to end up wrapping up the Court of Owls storyline, or if it's just going to continue into season 2, or continue into what would have been season 2. But it just 2 episodes doesn't seem like enough to fully wrap up everything that's on the table at the moment, unfortunately. So I think it's going to be just a classic unresolved show, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I'm very curious to see how they ultimately do end it. Like, I think there's a way you can have a very open-ended ending where it's like, all right, we're all suiting up and we're like Gotham Knights now, and we're gonna go protect our city, and it's a very open ending type thing for them. I don't know though. We'll see. It could be Two-Face. It could be. I don't know. Because go
ahead.
No, go ahead.
The way that I kind of envision this ending is the knights are all together in like proto suits. They're like, all right, we're a team now. We're the Gotham Knights. We got to take on the Court of Owls. And they're like, oh, we've got Harvey Dent on our side now too. And then somebody throws some acid in his face, and then Turner turns him over, and he's like, Harvey, no.
And then I would love that.
And then that's how I think that's how the season's gonna end, is like with that Two-Face tease.
Sure.
And then everybody's just gonna be like, save Gotham Knights. So, do you think there's a possibility that someone else picks it up, that it goes to Max, that it goes to another service, that Amazon, Netflix, something?
I don't think so. I think, I'm not saying it's impossible, because this show is doing really good on Max. Overseas, the show is it's been in its top 10 week after week. And I think if Max was smart, they would pick up some of these shows. I mean, what do they have now? They don't have much at all. Like
there's not much original content airing.
No, there's not. I think it'd be so smart to pick up your like Winchesters, your like Walker. I think Superman Lois would have been perfect for them. Like, I think that would have been a perfect like hot show for them. There's a part of me that would love that, because like with a budget, the show could be so cool. Like, I think with these writers that we've had, with a proper budget, with like maybe bring in some of these other characters that we've never, like, give these characters real suits, and then bring in some of your more comic booky type characters. Like, you could bring in like a Jason Todd or something with like a bigger budget. That'd be sweet. I would say no though. Like, I think the most likely out of all these shows was Stargirl, and I was watching really carefully for a while, because like it was top of the charts too. It was doing really well over on Max.
That's true.
Nothing. Like, it was nothing, and like there were no suits instantly. So I
right. If they couldn't save Stargirl, then Gotham Knights has unfortunately no chance. As much as I would love to see it come back.
Although this is a Batman property, they love Batman. Like, Gotham inside the name.
True.
I don't know. I don't think so. But that'd be nice. That would be an interesting twist indeed. If CW kept Superman Lois and Gotham Knights went to Max.
Yeah, I mean that'd be a twist on the original rumor, but I'd be all for it. I would be all for it. And imagine they just get this massive budget increase and like suits right off the bat, and it just like Jensen Ackles Batman in the first episode of season 2.
Oh, that'd be sweet. Let me read some of Noah's comments here. Batwoman was okay for the first 3 episodes, and it fell off. I actually disagree. I think those first couple were really not great, and then like by the end, at least season 1, I thought like they finally kind of found their footing, and then they had to recast, and then.
Yeah, I thought it ended pretty strong in season 1, and then they kind of had to reinvent the wheel in season 2. But then season 2 was very, very strong in like the back half and everything like that.
Yeah.
And season 3, like, it was really kind of when it felt like the show was like, okay, I know what I want to be.
I feel like Batwoman was a really good comic accurate representation of the character. People still hated it. Same thing with Captain Marvel. People hated Brie Larson, but she is a perfect Captain Marvel. Yeah, I mean, it's that female character thing, right? Like, if you're not straight and white and a man, like you're going to get that, and that always sucks. I'm very curious actually about Captain Marvel 2 this year, because I mean, they've already got wild with it, like it's insane.
Yeah, it looks fun.
Oh yeah, it looks great. I think it's gonna be a real fun time. I'm just very worried about the backlash. I'm
Oh,
curious to see how well it does in like the box office and stuff, because the first one got like a billion, right? But that was also right after Infinity War, so
I
like
mean, it's coming out at a good time. I think it's coming out, I believe, in November. It doesn't seem like there's a lot around that this year. So it could do well, but we shall see, as always.
Brie Larson is a perfect casting for Captain Marvel. She is just as perfect for Captain Marvel as RDJ is for Iron Man. Yeah, I think so. It also helps with a lot of these Marvel castings that they're really some of the only ones that have played these characters. So like I would be curious in like another world when we have like 15 Iron Mans and 7 Captain Americas, like who's the best, you know?
Tom Cruise Iron Man.
Sure, like Elvis Captain America, does he still hold up today, you know? So yeah, I mean, I like RDJ, great Iron Man, but like would he still be a great Iron Man if you had all these other actors play Iron Man, you know? So I that's something I'll be very curious, and in 15 years we might have that. Like I imagine we'll get another Iron Man at some point. That's what happened with Lucifer. It was canceled, and then the showrunner ended it on a cliffhanger. Fans were upset, really behind the show. Did you watch the show, Lucifer?
I did not watch it, but I know of the, craziness that happened when it was originally canceled,
cool.
And then it came back on Netflix, and I think it was for like another season or a 2-part season, or it was 2 seasons. I can't remember what it was, but it came back on Netflix.
3 seasons, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. So it got literally like a second life.
Oh, a half. Oh yeah, a whole nother half. And it was one of the coolest things because I caught up when it got like picked up again. I was like, because I saw all the hype around. I've never seen so much hype around a canceled show before. It was so insane. Like my whole Twitter and stuff was just like Lucifer stuff, and it was so cool to see. And I was like, okay, if this gets picked up, I will catch up and watch it and be among these fans. And like as cool as those first 3 seasons were, like that Netflix budget increase was
and then it was
insane.
It was
like, oh yeah, it had so much more money. It was so fun, and they could do a lot more things over on like Netflix than you could on like Fox. So yeah, no, I mean that'd be great. I always love these stories. I think these stories are so much fun when shows get canceled and then fans rally to bring them back. Like that's always fun.
Imagine that would be like the greatest underdog story, like the show that like nobody wanted when it was first announced, and then it gets canceled before the first season's even over, and then some network swoops in, saves the show, and it goes on for like 10 seasons. Imagine that.
That'd be pretty.
Imagine we're sitting here talking about Gotham Knights season 10 finale in 9 years' time.
That'd be pretty funny.
And then we go see Avatar 7 or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, do you have any final thoughts on this cancellation? We'll probably talk about this in coming weeks as we head into these final 2 episodes.
Just that it's sad to see. I mean, it's not overly surprising, but I was definitely very hopeful that it would have gotten renewed. And I am hopeful that it will get the Lucifer treatment and be saved elsewhere.
Sure.
CW doesn't know what they're missing.
Alrighty, let's move on here. Now, I was very happy to see this news because it was very funny because we talked about this last week. Literally, you had mentioned that you thought that the Authority might be introduced in Superman Legacy. And you're right. Yeah, apparently members of the Authority will be introduced in Superman Legacy. Are you down for are you happy about this potentially happening?
Oh yeah, I mean, it seems like James Gunn definitely has a plan of what he wants to do with this team of characters, and introducing them in Superman Legacy seems like a very good option. as well. And it was something, again, that we had speculated on, a lot of people had speculated on as well. It just makes sense to introduce this team that's not very well known. I don't really know about them. I didn't hear about. I had never heard of them until the announcement that they were coming in this new DCU slate. So I'm excited to meet these characters and see what they're all about.
Yeah, no, I think because like this is what like the Arrowverse used to do a lot. Like you would take your Prime show that was pretty popular and pretty ongoing, and then they're like, all right, here's this character. Aren't they cool? Isn't this a cool character? And then be like, how would you feel about a spin-off of this specific character? And that's kind of what this feels like to me. I think that's very smart. I think the Authority, because I was wondering how this movie's going to do in the box office in a world where like superhero fatigue is a thing. This is at least probably late 2025, 2026. It's going to be even worse by then. And just kind of see these characters that literally no one has ever heard of. Like these are very fresh. I don't want to say fresh, but very new characters to this broad audience. And I love that. I love getting these fresh characters. But I think introducing them here is a good idea. I guess the thing I won't say I'm worried about, but I'm very curious about is I kind of just imagined that this was going to be a more solo project for Superman. And we've heard about this, like these characters, we've heard about like Mr. Terrific, and like maybe like Crypto, and there's even been talks of like could like a Batman or something. There's been all these theories and stuff. Are you worried that maybe this is going to be too many side characters, or are you pretty confident?
Not really worried. I feel like it's definitely going to be a good establishing movie. It's going to establish this new DCU. It's going to establish that it's a lived-in world, that these characters are kind of fleshed out, that there is more to this universe than just Superman. And I think it's definitely a very different spot than we started the original DC or the DCEU with, where it was just Superman and that was it at the beginning. So I definitely like this approach, that there's going to be more than just Superman, but I think it's still going to obviously be a very Superman-centric story at the end of the day, because James Gunn seems very much so like a Superman fan, and like the character means a lot to him and everything like that. So I think he'll do a great job here.
Yeah, no, I'm very curious to see kind of where our universe is at as far as the like timeline of everything, because I watched that podcast right before we like went live. I finished it up, and he had talked about several times about this being a very established DC universe, it being filled with so many characters already, and that's never really been done before. Like normally you start from like the chapter 1 and then move forward. And we're kind of just placed in this new universe. And I think I actually really like this when it comes to like Flashpoint, because if we do connect from Flashpoint going forward, that's usually how it works. Is he kind of just goes into like an already established universe where all these heroes and like Justice League is a thing and all that stuff. So yeah, I like it. And again, as long as there is still that main focus on Superman and he's still number one, I guess. Because again, like we'll talk more about this in a second, but like this isn't even our first project. Like we're seeming like there's multiple movies before this. There's the like Waller show, and there's the like Creature Commandos, and yeah, I mean, we're jumping like headfirst into this world, which is kind of funny. Alrighty.
No, I didn't really have anything else. I didn't know if you were say anything else. Yeah,
I wasn't sure. Like, do you have? Okay.
No, I kind of said my piece.
Okay.
I thought.
So I want to talk about this a lot because this is interesting and it's very weird because this isn't new. This technically is not new information. He said it at the get-go, and like all of us were kind of like, okay, that's cool, but like for real or.
Yeah, and then people were like, "Oh, then maybe it's not the beginning of the new DCU." But I'm glad that James Gunn again kind of confirms, like, "Hey, this is an important movie. Like, it matters."
Yeah, no, yeah. So it seems like Blue Beetle is set in this new universe. I think that was very important going in because Blue Beetle and also Aquaman 2, which that's a whole nother story. I think that's a lot more complicated. We're kind of like, it's not DCEU, but it's also not DCU. but it's also both of those things, and it's like, where do they take place? And I think that's still going to be kind of a, especially when it comes to like Aquaman, where it's literally a sequel. It's a sequel to a movie that was in this past universe. Is it like a prequel that's set in that world, or is Jason Momoa just our Aquaman? Like that's just something. And again, like he's talked about, like he literally said that they are in our universe, but then it's like, but maybe not. I don't know. It's weird. But like, what are your opinions on this?
I think it just depends again on. I think it depends a lot on reception, right? Because it could be very easy to, push Blue Beetle into future DC projects if it does well, but also very easy to just say, hey, Blue Beetle's in the same universe as everybody else, but he's just kind of off in his own little section doing his own thing. Same with a lot of these other projects, again, like Aquaman. Like, are we going to be using Aquaman as much as we did in the original DCEU? We could say, hey, Jason Momoa is Aquaman in this universe, but he's not a very big part of the Justice League, at least not at the beginning. He's off here doing his own thing. Don't worry about him.
Yeah. I'm very shocked that they didn't have Aquaman before Flash, because like even like if Aquaman 2 is in this, like you're kind of stuck with like that Mira. Like you're kind of stuck without like a Mira in this movie, or like in this universe. I feel like I'm very nervous about the whole movie, actually, because like that film feels like there's been 50 versions of it cut into so many versions.
It's an interesting spot for sure. I mean, they could also say that it takes place pre-Flashpoint as well. So technically, then I mean, everything pre-Flashpoint is still technically connected to this, because there's a lot carrying over from Flashpoint into this new DCU. So it's very much so, I think, dependent on how these things perform.
Yeah, I think honestly, I'm not too concerned about Blue Beetle, because I think
it's going to be good.
I think even if it does underperform, he can still, like, I think they're pretty concrete that he's going to be our Blue Beetle, it seems like. Because like even if his film does terribly and they never make another one, they can just like throw him in. I think the character will still pop up. Yeah, Teen Titans or Booster Gold. Like I think they like that actor. I think he's pretty set no matter what. Unless people just hate him, like unless this is like a Justice League, or like this is one of the worst films ever, and then they might throw him out. But I don't think that.
I highly doubt that would happen.
Yeah, no. I think he's pretty safe. And then Aquaman, we'll see. Aquaman's the but
the
actually
outlier.
Yeah. I didn't post it here, but I think the director of Blue Beetle posted on their Instagram a Blue Beetle with like Superman. And I was like, oh, I wonder what that means. I didn't put it in there because I didn't think it was that important. But yeah, that's something indeed. All right, next up, and this is all kind of coming from the podcast, the Michael Rosenbaum podcast, which again, I love the podcast. I think it's a great show. I do want to pull up a little clip from that interview. We were talking about it in our group chat earlier, and I thought it was kind of a little interesting. That might give us a little bit of, I guess, not insight, but something cool to talk about, just really quick. Okay. So they're talking about who's the best Lex Luthor, and I know yep. And there's something said in there that I do kind of want to bring up and potentially talk about. Give me 1 minute. Let me close my DMs.
Yes, no worries. Take your time.
All right, let's move over here. So yeah, this is Michael Rosenbaum talking to James Gunn.
All right, so if there were a Lex Luthor.
Okay.
If there were a Lex Luthor in this movie, and there's a lot of other villains, so it may not be Lex Luthor.
And you are the best Lex. Let's admit it. We know you're the best Lex.
Come on, you're being funny.
I'm not being funny. You're definitely the best Lex.
Really?
Definitely.
But not right for your movie.
Not right for my. I didn't say there was even a Lex in the movie. So.
I know, but if there were a Lex Luthor, promise me this.
Uh-huh.
He'll be he'll have gravitas, or he'll be Lex Luthor. He won't be playing Lex Luthor, but he's more acting like this character or this or goofy or crazy. He's going to be something that's grounded and real. I know you. I'm sure that's
everything's grounded and real. Yeah, everything's grounded and real.
Because I'm not saying anybody's done that. I'm just saying that yeah.
Maybe somebody's done that.
Maybe that's happened.
Okay. I did not get to that part of the podcast, but I'm excited.
So I find this really interesting because there's a couple of things that were said. We're like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. So there's been no official announcement of Lex Luthor. It is kind of funny because he talked about it later on, where he's like, everyone assumes Lex Luthor is in this, but I've said nothing about Lex Luthor. Like, I've said absolutely nothing. Do you think Lex is in this movie?
I wouldn't be surprised if he's not. We've seen so many versions of Lex in recent memory that it would make a lot of sense that they would want to introduce this new Superman without having to tie him to Lex immediately. Do I think we'll eventually get to Lex Luthor? Definitely. But do I think he's going to be a big player in this first film? Probably not. But we might get some little hints, some little name drops. But I wouldn't even be 100% on the side of we'll even get a casting for this movie. Like, it might just be Lex exists, but we don't know who he is just yet.
Yeah, it's been kind of a weird one because, like, apparently there were like casting calls and stuff for Lex, but like he says in this podcast, like a lot of those are fake. Like, a lot of the casting things going around are just fake and they're not even a thing. So maybe all those rumors about Lex were just wrong, like not even a thing. I do think we might get a Lex. I think Lex is in here. I don't think he's the main villain though. I think he's just like bratty kid Lex, because I think Lex sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying I think Lex kind of is going to be maybe our Superman Thanos, like the like build up for either for a Justice League or just like Superman 3 or Superman 4, like whatever. And again, Lex is such an important part to DC. Like, he's such a cornerstone. It'd be very shocked if he's not in here somewhere. But yeah, I'd be very curious. Another thing I wanted to bring up, and again, this is not a shocking thing or anything, but like we had talked about, I think me and you talked about it, about like, could Michael Rosenbaum play this Lex? Like, could he come back? Like, could he do it? And they kind of should have said, no, you're not my Lex, which I thought was really funny.
You're the best Lex, but not right for my movie.
Yeah, which I like a lot, which is very much like what he was saying with like Henry Cavill, where it's like, you're great, you're awesome, but we're going a different direction here, which makes sense. I assume he would have been too old for this version of Lex. Not saying that he's old, but
no, it just doesn't seem like the right fit for the time in Superman's life that this is going to be. It seems like while it's not an origin story, it's a very early days of Superman. While Michael Rosenbaum would definitely play a much better, like, kind of later years Lex. Like, if we weren't having Michael Cudlitz on Superman and Lois, I think, Michael Rosenbaum could have come back and
that would have been cool.
Lex for Superman and Lois. That could have been interesting.
Sure. Yeah, I think there's a world where you could have like a young Clark with the old Lex. Like, I think that dynamic could work. But if this is a 10-year plan, 20-year plan, 30-year plan, maybe you don't want like someone. Well, Michael Rosenbaum is in late 40s, early 50s. Like, maybe you do want someone that can do this. Do this stuff. I did want to bring this up. I saw on Twitter that you said he could play a great Lionel Luthor. Just have him somewhere in this movie. Like, it doesn't have to be Lex. It could be a bartender or just something. Like, throw him in there. Show the like legacy of these characters. I love when DC does this. You can do the same with like Tom Welling. Have Tom Welling play like a barber or something, and just kind of have him in the movie. But no, like I looked into like Lionel Luthor photos. I was like, could he pull it off? I was looking at him like, yeah, I think he could. I think he could play a solid Lionel. He doesn't have to be a massive character in here because I don't know how Lionel would play in a movie like this, but like just a cameo or something.
I mean, it is Superman Legacy after all.
Very, very true. Yeah, but this whole this podcast was littered with so many
lot of
things.
info.
And I was like, we could just do a whole episode on this, and we got a couple more to get through here.
I mean, I thought it was cool that he just said Arrowverse at one point.
He did, yeah. I was shocked.
He referred to it as the Arrowverse. I was like, oh, wow, James Gunn, he knows about it.
Yeah. He I remember when he made that tweet about Legends, like 3 months ago or so. I was like, whoa, he said it on his Twitter. Like, that was cool. He knows it. He knows it exists, and even, yeah, I definitely respect it, and he seems to have a knowledge that oh yeah, this universe is ending, and I think it was towards the end where he I don't want to spoil the podcast for you, but he has said that he had his hardest part of the job so far is saying no to shows getting canceled and shows projects not happening and going forward, and I wonder how much of that was in reference to of course the Snyder cut and stuff, but how much of that was Legends or Batwoman with him just wanting to come in and save it and stuff. So I think that was very cool. I wanted to talk about this Michael Shannon thing. I've been going around on Twitter. The Snyder people have been really using it to their advantage. So it seems like he's very much team Zack Snyder. He loves Zack Snyder. He loved his work. And he said that these multiverse movies are like someone playing with action figures. It's not quite in depth. It's not quite the in-depth character study I felt in Man of Steel was. What are your thoughts on this statement? I kind of get weird vibes from this post.
I don't know. In many ways, it makes sense. I can definitely see where he's coming from. At least from trailers and stuff like that. Flash looks very much so your big summer blockbustery, crazy. This is going on. Here's some cameos. That type of movie. While obviously Man of Steel was a very much so introspective look and breakdown of the character of Superman and everything like that. So I definitely, from an acting perspective, from a story perspective, definitely see where he's coming from. Maybe this comes from a place of he thought that the character would be a lot more fleshed out in the film than he actually was.
Sure.
From things that I've seen, it doesn't seem like he has that much going on in the movie other than to just be a threat. But we're gonna have to wait and see when we actually see the film. But I don't see a massive problem with the statement. Maybe it just could have been worded a little bit, maybe worded a little bit nicer is the only way I could say.
I do wonder because we've heard that this is a very deep and emotional film. I do wonder if maybe Zod's I don't think Zod's in very much of this movie. I think he's maybe in 30-40 minutes of this movie, if not, probably not even that. It seems like most of the trailers are this stuff. It's that middle, that kind of hour in
chunk. Yeah.
So maybe he's right. Maybe his stuff in the movie are really just people playing with toys. It's
right.
Flash and Supergirl,
maybe just
and
there for the big fight, and that's about it. But all the other characters have big, character arcs, character moments. I don't really think that he was meant to come back to have a massive character arc. That already happened. That was Man of Steel. I don't really know what you expect coming back in this capacity, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually am very excited for him to come back though. I do quite like his Zod. And it's kind of nice getting able to revisit this movie, I guess. Really enough, even though Henry is not there, and the end of everything, I guess. All right, let's move along here. So Andy had talked about the DC characters that we wanted and were allowed to use. He said, I made a list of superheroes that I love, that I would love to see them for pacing. We had a short list. That's about it. So they basically was saying he had full range of all these different characters he could use from. I kind of just want to go back to the whole thing that Grant Gustin's most likely not in this movie. It's absurd to me. He was given full control. And there wasn't hey, can we get the Grant guy? Can we get a John Wesley Shipp in here? I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. Maybe some of it boils down to a little bit of studio interference as well. Maybe they're hey, you can't use everything in this movie. We can't just do every crazy cameo that you want. We can't show every single character. Like, we've got to save some stuff for a little bit later. So maybe that's kind of what happened here.
Sure.
So like maybe he made this just extravagant list of all these different characters, but they're like, hey, pump the brakes a little bit. We can have some cameos, we can have some appearances, but maybe save some for a little bit later on in the new DCU. So I think that's maybe where this is coming from.
You know what? That's actually a good point I didn't think of. Like, maybe they want Grant, but maybe you want to save Grant for 10 years, where it's like, oh my gosh, he's back as the Flash. You know, maybe they're waiting for their like No Way Home moment for him.
Yeah. It's almost too close to
that's
the
fair,
end
actually.
to bring it back. Like, it almost wouldn't feel as special. It's kind of like, you know, you have to wait in between. You got to wait in between movies. You got to wait in between games and stuff like that. You know, sometimes just extended periods of time, but the wait sometimes makes the next appearance or the next thing a lot more special.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. Although John Willis' ship, I think, still could have been like, maybe you do John Willis' ship here, and then 5-6 years you do Grant.
Maybe.
I don't know. Like even just in like Michael Keaton's like Earth or something. It's just like them hanging out. I don't know. Let's move into more of this podcast. So I know you haven't finished it yet, but he did talk about Creature Commandos. He said, I got a new soundtrack for Creature Commandos, and that's actually the first project we're doing, and that comes out in a year or so. So I just kind of want to talk about the fact that we're getting he's really hard working on the soundtrack. That makes me very excited. That I wonder if each of these projects are going to have like an epic soundtrack, because he's known for having those really great soundtracks for all the Guardians, for Peacemaker, for the Suicide Squad movie. So do you think each project is just going to have like the best soundtrack ever?
I mean, I feel like that format might get a little old if like every single movie is like, you know, intertwined with this like epic you know, list of songs to go along with it. I did get to the point in the podcast where he was talking about how he was writing the Guardians 3 script, and he wrote in each song that he wanted to use in that script for the film when he was, you know, laying it out, pitching it to the studio, that type of thing. So I definitely like that format, and it goes a long way with the storytelling to not only have things, you know, represented visually, but also have that audio aspect as well with all of the song choices. I think he does make great choices with that, but I couldn't really see like maybe Superman Legacy with like a Guardian style soundtrack. Like, that might seem a little out of place. I would much rather have like an orchestral score. I think that would fit a lot better. But for some of these projects like Creature Commandos, maybe like The Authority, that type of thing.
Waller,
if they want to go that route, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I agree. I am also, again, very excited to hear that it comes out in about a year or so. So I could see like a next summer for this, like a project like this, maybe, because we've heard about 24. It was going to be like 2024. It's just kind of insane because like we've been under the impression we had to wait till 2025 for this all to start, but like Blue Beetle's in this now.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting a lot sooner than you think.
Yeah. Like, it starts in 2 months, and then maybe Aquaman 2. And I've heard rumors that Waller might also be 2024. So we could be, like... honestly, kind of going back to Superman and Lois, like, we could be done... We could finish up Superman and Lois and then kind of jump right into this new universe fairly quickly, which is very nice. That there won't maybe be as much of a gap as maybe many people might think. As a Gen Z, I especially enjoy Gunn's soundtrack premises. Yeah, I like it. I think he does a really good job.
Very strong with all the soundtracks as always.
Next here, I not much to say for this one. Just basically he had talked about creating a special aesthetic for this movie. And I think that's what I'm very excited for, because I do think he does a really good job at that for most of his projects. Guardians have such a special feel to them. Like Suicide Squad feels so drastically different, but also has a very special style and theme. And then, Peacemaker, very similar. Like, again, it's like it's a spin-off of the Suicide Squad. It also feels very drastically different in tone and style. And just kind of hearing him talk in this podcast, his like passion of storytelling and like how he's going to handle Superman. Just, I'm so excited to see what this movie feels like. Like what's the vibe this movie is ultimately going for.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely tell a James Gunn project apart from anything else. Like, he definitely allows his unique vision as a filmmaker to, shine through in all of these projects. Again, whether that be, how shots are framed cinematography-wise, whether that be with the script writing and the soundtrack integration into the story of the film. Like, it's very clear that James Gunn knows what he's doing, and when he's given free reign on creating a film, it turns out very much so as a great project, again, without a lot of that studio interference that you would see in many other projects.
Absolutely. Like, if you guys are a fan, or if you guys are excited for this universe, I would just check out this whole podcast, because he talks about it more than I thought he would. Like, he really dives in. And I think if you're on the fence about James Gunn, and of course I understand why people might be on the fence still, but I think the way he talks about his passion for storytelling, his passion for these characters, it just shines through, and I'm gets me so excited to see what he ultimately does with these projects. Like, he seems so passionate about what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that he's the right choice to be in the position that he's at with DC. So I'm very excited. I've been a James Gunn fan since Guardians 1.
Sure.
So, I'm very excited for this.
And it's just so crazy seeing like the evolution of what's happened, like him getting fired.
Yeah.
And then going to DC and then going back to Marvel. And now like there's not a stream that goes by we don't talk about James Gunn. Like, he's the center of almost everything now.
And kind of just the definition of like everything happens the way it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
So all praise to James Gunn. I'm glad he's on this track for sure.
And again, this is kind of another comment that we heard about before, but I still kind of wanted to bring up. And he says he talked about how right after Superman Legacy, he's going to go and start working on Peacemaker season 2, which again, a very long hiatus for a show that came out 2021. Probably we won't see the light of day until at least 2026, if not like a 2027. Are you excited for season 2? Do you want it to come quicker, or?
Oh yeah, no, I mean I'm excited for Peacemaker season 2. It's just kind of weird that there's this picture of this floating helmet. No, the bad joke, but yeah, I definitely this makes sense to me as to his, I guess, order of priorities. Like, Superman Legacy is definitely number one on that priority list. Obviously, a movie would outrank doing a series, and the fact that Waller's going to kind of be like that Peacemaker season 1.5 most likely. It makes sense that season 2 won't start getting work done until after Legacy is over.
Yeah. Like, he had talked about like what he's kind of working on. He talked about like the Superman Legacy, then kind of Waller stuff, which seems like he's not directly connected to Waller, but he's still obviously connected to Waller. Then Peacemaker season 2, and then he said no Suicide Squad 2, which I was actually kind of shocked about. Yeah, he said that right now there's no plans for Suicide Squad 2. He also kind of had mentioned about like, not that sequels are bad, but sometimes sequels are made just for there to be a sequel, and like there has to be like a story there to make the sequel. So I wonder how many sequels we'll end up getting in this universe. Seems like he's more strict on what characters get shows and movies and sequels. So
yeah, I'm definitely in that camp of don't make a sequel unless you actually need one. I think one of the biggest examples of that right now is I don't think Joker needs a sequel. I think that the first movie stands alone on its own. It's a great character study of the Joker in this Elseworlds universe. Like, I never expected to get a sequel, and it just feels kind of weird that we're getting a sequel. Not that I'm not going to watch it, not that I'm not going to enjoy it, but I just think sometimes it's almost better left at a a one and done rather than have
Sure.
all these sequels and then you just kind of go down the rabbit hole.
I agree, but I'm very excited for Joker 2. I'm very excited for a comic book movie musical.
Definitely something very different.
I think that's why I'm excited, because like there's never been a movie like this. Although I do wonder like if you could have done like a Music Meister movie or something. Or something like another character that maybe
The
fits
Flash
in. But no,
Supergirl musical crossover, but make it
sure.
2.5 hours.
I do want to say that people have been saying Marvel is over and DC's time. Why can't we just have both and enjoy both? This is always going to be a thing, definitely. Like, there's always going to be the Marvel versus DC thing. I think I'm definitely more excited for DC currently, just because I think it's a lot more fresh at the moment. It's something new. There's all these projects and just like the unknown of everything. But no, I don't think success of one should mean the like failure of another. I've heard this talked about a lot. Like, DC doing all this should force Marvel to step up their game. It should force them to make better movies, to cast better directors. Because I do think like there's obviously it's not as much war as people think it is. Like, they're not always fighting. These actors and directors don't hate each other. But like when it comes to box office and money, like they do compete to an extent. Like they do compete for best money and most money. So, I mean, I'm hoping that like Marvel looks at what's happening with not only their brand and DC and all these other new franchises that are rising up. Like Mario is now probably a big threat, and like Sony is doing stuff that I think is really cool. So I hope, I don't mean to hog all that time, but
no, you're good.
I definitely hope like this next kind of stage of Marvel can step up their game a little bit.
Oh yeah, that was very, very well said. I just think the fact that James Gunn does Marvel, he does DC. There's no bad blood between either company. I think the best part about being a comic book fan is you can be a fan of DC and you can be a fan of Marvel, and you can pick and choose what you want to consume from each company. And I think that's really the beauty of a comic book fan, and it's just a debate as old as time. DC versus Marvel, Xbox versus PlayStation.
Yeah,
but everybody knows PC is the best. It's
I do think it is really fun, kind of James Gunn being both, like having those like things about like there's moments of this podcast where he's talking about Superman and like Rocket Raccoon in like the same sentence, and it's like that's insane to think about. Like
the definition of just like the one in the middle.
Sure, yeah. I would love this idea if we can kind of like stop fighting so much and kind of come in the middle. And like he's even talked about like a crossover between the two and all that jazz.
Insane.
That would.
I mean, we're kind of living in a world where that's actually a possibility now. Yeah.
I mean, across the Spider-Verse, I mean, you have the like Lego characters. That's kind of a crossover.
Yeah. I mean, I think actually if we saw a Marvel DC crossover, the best way to do it would be animation.
I agree. Have it be Elseworlds and then bring together all the old actors and stuff, because
just get like the favorite actor of each character to have them voice, or just like even have multiple versions of all these characters. Just literally whoever wants to be in this movie. If you've ever been in a DC movie, if you've ever been in a Marvel movie, just come lend your voice to this, and we'll make a character.
I 100% agree. Like I think there's something kind of sad thinking like you do a Marvel versus DC movie or whatever, and you don't have like Robert Downey Jr. or like Chris Evans as Cap.
Right.
So I think like you bring back them, you bring back I don't know like a Henry Cavill maybe. Or like a Christian Bale or something. I don't know.
Back literally everyone, just everyone. Especially if it's animation, you can put everyone in. Like even if it was just you just go through each character, and each character just like says a thing, and it's like an hour and a half just all of them on screen together, just
dialogue,
random dialogue, like, and then we get a nice like 15 to 30-minute action scene, and that's it. Like people would be happy. I'd be happy.
What's so sad is that we couldn't have Kevin Conroy do Batman. That'd be so sad. All right, that's all of the headlines I have. We got through all of them. There's a lot there. There's a lot.
Ooh, we did it.
I know. two and a half hours later, and we did it. So before we go, I do have these promos here from last week. We never talked about these promos that we got going into these penultimate episodes, which again, crazy
Yes.
that we're here. We're at the final 2 already. Yeah, let's just jump into the Superman Lois trailer. We'll talk about it and we'll give our predictions for these next couple episodes.
I'm one of the people Lex blames. What Pia said about him being the devil, she's right.
Let me explain to you how things are going to work around here. What happens next is up to you, but your time is running out.
Alrighty, the episode we've all been waiting for. I was very sad last week when I got hyped up for Lex Luthor, and then I remembered we're off for 2 weeks.
Yep.
2-week hiatus, now 1-week hiatus officially. So how are we feeling? We finally got Lex. This seems to be the episode that they've been leading to all season. We've wrapped up a lot of our major storylines, and now it seems like we're focusing mostly on Lex Luthor.
Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen. I mean, this is pretty much what I thought we were going to be doing from the beginning. Once we got that Lex teaser and he didn't like show up pretty much immediately, I was like, oh, they're really saving him for the end of the season.
Mhm.
And I know we've talked about this a lot recently, that episode 11 felt very much like a season finale, and then 12 and 13 are going to be kind of like this epilogue, this setup for season 4. It's nice to know that now we are actually going to be getting a season 4, and we'll be getting a continuation of this storyline. But I'm very excited to see Lex. I think Michael Cudlitz is going to do a great job just based off of this trailer and that original Lex teaser as well. Seems like a big, physical, imposing threat, and I'm very excited to see this new take on the character.
Yeah, me too. No, I'm very excited to see this new Lex, and I can go into these final 2 a lot happier now, knowing that it's all going to be leading to something cool next season. I do want to talk about the shot with Sam real quick. He's looking up in the sky. Looks like maybe some kind of helicopter. Do you think this is
It's
or something?
bird.
Yeah.
It's a
Do you
plane.
think this is like the plane landing that he's getting released in or something?
I don't know.
Unless this
I
is
think maybe it's
flashback.
just somebody taking flight. Like maybe it's like John Henry
Oh,
Irons or
could
somebody just
be.
like flying away.
That could be. It also seems like we were talking a little about this before. It seems like some of this is flashback.
Yeah.
Which I like. I would actually love if half this episode is just set in this time era. Like it seems like this is very Lex centered. I would love if a good 15-20 minutes is just like how he got sent to jail and
Yeah.
like
Or
maybe
like
a-
kind of like interweave it in the episode,
Mhm.
kind of like a like an Arrow flashback style, that
Sure.
type of thing. But yeah, this is definitely like classic investigative reporter looking Lois Lane, so it's very cool to see.
I agree. I hope we get to see that suit again this episode. We've
Yeah.
had a couple of the flashbacks. So I was like, can you put on that suit, please? But no. Like I had pitched back in season 1, I was like, you should do like a full flashback episode where it's just like Clark, Lois versus Lex, and it's like you have that suit, and maybe you can bring in like a Jimmy Olsen or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Could we see that classic Superman suit again if it's flashbacks? Could we see the one with the trunks and all?
yeah. That's what I was talking about. And Jonathan's back on the team, as he should.
Hey Kent, it's crazy that your dad's Superman.
So does he doesn't know anything about the kids, right?
I don't know. They didn't really make that clear. If Clark just said,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm Superman. Just chill. Don't worry about it," or if he kind of filled him in on everything.
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking after everything that happened, might as well just fill him in on everything, so there's no more secrets being kept. So everybody's on the same playing
Mhm.
field. I'm thinking he knows everything that he needs to know.
Yeah, I could see it going either way. I think you could, because Lana knows everything. Like
Right?
he
Yeah,
could have
exactly.
just
So
told
if If she knows everything, if Sarah knows everything, there's no reason why at this point Kyle shouldn't know everything as well.
Like I could see a world where it's like, oh well, like the like less they know about my kids having powers, the safer they are. But like if Lana knows, Sarah knows.
Yeah. There's no point in keeping that from him at this point now.
Poor Sophie. Poor Sophie.
Oh, maybe she'll be a series regular next season.
It's just like a large time jump.
Yeah, just like this kid has like the craziest agent, and they just like everybody else gets cut from the show. Just
how crazy would that be if they time jumped and they only kept like they recasted all the young actors?
That'd be weird.
Cheaper contracts, and they just keep Clark and Betsy.
That'd be very interesting. I don't think they'd do that. There's no way they'd do that. That'd be too weird, too different.
I wouldn't want that, but that'd be kind of funny.
Lex Luthor's building that Spider-Man 2099 back in there.
Do we think when do we think he's going to get out in this episode? Do you think that's like an end of the episode thing, or do you think he'll spend a lot of this?
I think we're starting the episode with him getting out. I think he gets out at the beginning of the episode, and like whatever he's doing ties into the flashbacks. I'm not really sure how far we're actually going to progress in present day, but I think it starts at least with the news that he's getting out, and then we carry on from there.
Yeah, that might be. I would love that. I mean, it gives us more time with him. And again, like we've talked about this a good bit, but I'm very curious to see what his plan is, because he's clearly been scheming something. I would not be shocked if it's he went to jail on purpose or something. And this is his long game, I guess.
Like he just let himself get framed.
Sure, for 20 years. This has to be a good plan, man. This has to be like perfect if you were willing to spend 20 years in prison.
I think he made the best of a bad situation. That maybe he just like formulated something in prison, but he's got a comeback plan for sure.
Okay, so this is Sarah. They're obviously something's outside. I think something happened because Sam was looking up.
Something's going on in Smallville, most likely.
They're looking up. She has that new waitress job, and she looks to Jordan as in like, "Are you gonna do something?" He's then out the window. Maybe it's like Lex.
No, bro, I wanted my food. I'm just waiting for my order to come out.
I am quite nervous about Jordan and Sarah this week because their weird storyline is like continuing this week from the like synopsis and stuff. So
okay.
I'm a little worried because I think I think I read like she goes to Kyle for advice about the Jordan situation or something. I was like, I don't know I don't know if I want that.
It'll most likely not be a massive part of the episode. I think really this Lex stuff is going to be the main thing. I think for the most part, Lex is going to be the main character of this episode. I would be surprised if we're following Lex for the majority of it.
I would love a Lex episode. I think that'd be great. And then next episode, just like, I guess even next season, you kind of just like hit the ground running.
Yeah. It's just do all the establishing things that you need to do in this episode, bring us up to speed on who this version of Lex is, and then just go full steam ahead.
Yeah. I will say, if this could be the last of it. Like, we could be done with the Sarah and Jordan stuff.
Yeah.
Because she might not be here. But yeah, no, I'm actually waiting for the official. If she is out, or because I haven't seen anything official yet.
No, I mean, again, it sounds like she said something probably in passing on a stream or whatever, and could have been taken out of context, could not have been, who knows. But I mean, if it's any indication of what happened with General Lane, then she's definitely not going to be a regular next season. But
I don't think so. Yeah,
I wouldn't put it past them to have her at least be in a recurring role, at least a handful of episodes.
Yeah, I think we broke this down enough. I think we got every shot pretty much covered.
This is about as much as we can do on that front.
All right, let's touch on Gotham Knights.
Yes.
We plan on a mission.
We are gonna unmask the court.
The owls are in the house.
50 court members and their security equals you guys dead.
Isn't it nice when the good guy wins?
Alrighty. So yeah, I mean, this feels fully like a penultimate episode. It feels like everything is kind of leading to this finale. And I know you've been referencing this trailer a bunch. So do you want to where do you kind of want to start with this trailer?
I think it's going to put everything out in the open as far as who's really controlling the court, what they're doing and everything, what their plan is fully with this Electrum. It seems like Rebecca March is actually the voice of the court. She's got that gold owl mask and everything like that. They kind of misdirected us a little bit with Lincoln throughout the whole season. It made us think that he was the leader of the court when in reality, Rebecca seems like she's just as crazy, if not crazier than he is, and actually kind of like in control of everything. It looks like Lincoln gets his mayoral win as well.
Yeah, I wonder if this kind of pushes Harvey over the edge this episode.
Maybe. I mean, things are definitely not looking great in the world of Harvey Dent for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he just had he was just kidnapped. He found out he has a daughter. He lost to this punk.
And instead of putting a dent in crime, somebody tried to put a dent in his chest.
Yeah, that they did. And then we had the voicemail last week. I wonder if something's got what she's doing with that voicemail.
I think she's gonna either reveal to Harvey what's going on, or Harvey's gonna figure it out, and then basically is like, you gotta choose, bro. Do you wanna, side with me, or do you wanna try to be the hero? And then maybe that's when some acid will be thrown at his face. And then this shot's very interesting.
Does he have a sword? He has a suit on.
Yeah, so everybody's kind of getting these proto suits, but it's just nice leather jackets. It's cool. It's cool. Everybody gets a leather jacket. I like it. But I was always under the assumption that after Brody got viciously killed by his mom, super random, I thought he was going to become the new Talon. And we saw a shot of the new Talon in this trailer as well, or a revived Talon. But yeah, obviously Brody's with the Knights. So I'm guessing that this Talon is just revived, the one that got its head chopped off, but who knows? Or maybe it's Lincoln.
Maybe
it's just nobody else wants to be Talon. I'll be Talon. I don't care.
I mean, could it not be both? Where maybe he's supposed to be Talon, but then he's like, "Help me, guys! This is crazy."
Yeah. Maybe that's a possibility as well. Because I mean, Lincoln March is Owlman in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's as far as they're willing to go, is just let him be a Talon.
Oh, it looks like she has a sword too.
Everybody gets a sword.
Oh wait, maybe not. Oh well. These are just regular masks, right?
Yeah, it's maybe court enforcers. I feel like it's very much like a video game thing. Like the basic court enemies have the normal Court of Owls mask, and then the higher tier adversaries will have those different style masks on.
Sure. I am curious about Duella, because this seems to be you have to make a choice type scene.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's coming back to the team. I think it's pretty evident, at least at the end of the last episode, that she was maybe not 100% on board with staying with her mom full time.
Sure.
And maybe kind of sees what was actually going on, figures out maybe that she was trying to sell Turner out as well and collect on that reward for him, maybe kind of pushes her over the edge and is like, all right, I'll go back to my team.
That's very possible.
But I'm guessing they're all going to be together by the end of this episode, going into the finale for sure.
Yeah. It seems to be a lot of fighting. There's a lot
Yeah,
of
it looks like
fighting
an
in this
action-packed
trailer.
episode. Like we've been saying, it's a very character-driven show, but it's nice to see some big action set pieces every once in a while.
And she's back in action, it looks like.
Yes. Carrie is back as Robin.
Is she in that shot before with all... no, she's not here.
Not with all of them, no. They're making you think that Duella is talking to the team, but it could be somebody else.
Sure. I wonder
Just
if
the
it's
way that it's cut. Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. No, I wonder if it's like they go in like by themselves and then they get like, come help us. We're about to die.
They need backup.
Yeah. Very interesting. I am very excited. I will say, look at all these SWAT men.
Yeah, I like the green laser sights. They did that, I think, what was it, episode 2 when they were raiding the Batcave? They had all their nice, like, green night vision, like, Modern Warfare style laser sights.
So this isn't the court. This is just, like, the cops. Do they call the cops for, like, backup or something?
Maybe they're trying to turn in the knights. The court calls the GCPD in, possibly. Since they're all pretty much under that influence as well.
Who is she hitting here? Is this Lincoln? Or that looks like Lincoln.
Yeah. It looks like him.
Yeah. Good for you, girl. Yeah, and of course it looks like he's winning here. Which again, shocked they put this in the trailer. Unless it's a misdirect.
Maybe.
Interesting. Yeah, no, these next 2 episodes look like really fun. It feels like we're heading into some fun episodes.
Yes, this looks like an action-packed one for sure.
Yeah, the show's going out with a bang.
And then it will get picked up by Netflix or Max
for
or somebody.
Seasons.
Or I will make my own network and pick this show up.
Fund it.
A budget of $0 and a dream.
Do you want to work for free?
I don't know. We'll figure out profit later on.
Yeah, but yeah, no, this looks very, very curious going into these final couple of episodes. It's crazy that we're like at this point in the season. Like we're done for a while. Of course, like we still got some fun DC TV shows coming. My Ventures with a Superman should be 2 weeks or so, which is very
Something
fun.
like that, yeah.
Secret Invasion next week, which is insane.
I didn't realize that was coming out so soon.
No,
until you said something.
I was like, wait, it's next week. I got a plan. I gotta like, that's what next week's stream is. So yeah, no. And then Harley Quinn should be coming at some point. I don't know when. Hope soon because I kind of miss it. And then of course Doom Patrol needs to come out with their final season, or like I don't know what they're doing. I'm kind of scared.
I haven't seen anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I mean, no, it's been off the air since like Christmas, like January or so. So I'm like, there's a part of me that's like they wouldn't like can it, right? Like it's done. Don't. I hope they like release it.
I'm sure it'll come out at some point.
I do just quietly before we go. I know we talked about the movie a little bit, but I do just want to say this is our last stream before The Flash comes out officially.
Yes.
I see it. Are you seeing it Thursday? Or...
Yeah, I'm seeing it Thursday night.
What's just your kind of final thoughts before finally seeing this movie?
It's been a long time coming. I'm just glad that it's finally here. It's like something that just keeps getting pushed back. They just keep moving the finish line, but we're finally there. Finally going to see this movie. So many people have already seen it from early screenings and stuff like that, but it's nice to just get to that point where we actually can see the film, stop speculating about it, and just absorb it, and then talk as much as we can about it afterwards.
Yeah, no, it feels so weird. Like it's actually coming out after all these years. Like it's like now what do we do now that it's over? we have to find a new show our movie to talk about for 10 years. Do you have any like hopes for this movie? Just kind of like things you want to see?
I just hope that they give us a good like faithful version of the Flash. I know a lot of people have had their criticisms over the DCEU take on the Flash. This version of Barry Allen doesn't feel like Barry Allen, kind of like an amalgam of Barry, Wally, and even Bart to some extent. Like, I hope that this version of Barry feels like Barry, and that it does its job as a Flash film and just kind of focuses on that Flash mythos very well. It seems like it's going to be very much so like Speed Force heavy as well, so I'm looking forward to that. But I just hope that it's a nice, faithful Flash adaptation. But also again, kind of taking their own liberties here and there. I know with the Flashpoint storyline, it's not going to be a beat for beat remake, which in many ways is very fun as well. Which, you know, opens up the door for, you know, Michael Keaton Batman return, this new version of Supergirl, which I'm very excited to see as well. Sasha Calle, from all of her interviews and everything, seems very, very excited about playing this character.
Yes.
Just it seems like she really wants to come back as well. So I'm definitely in that camp as well. Hoping that we get to see more of her if she's as good as everybody says she is in the movie, for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm just happy it's out. Like I'm happy that we can finally just see this movie and then talk about it for 4 months until we get some more stuff. Yes. And again, like it's kind of the start of also like a new thing as well, because I assume however we end, because I know there's been some weird like changes in like the end credit scene and kind of what it means, and I assume we'll be doing some kind of restart at the end of the movie that sets up our entire new timeline of characters.
Right.
Yeah, I'm excited. I assume as we kind of get out of here, do you got any plans for this next week to cover this movie? Are you?
Yeah, I'm hoping to do a stream maybe like Sunday night. You are more than welcome to join if you would like. I'm thinking maybe Sunday night around 10:30 on the channel, something like that. Just, you know, sit down. We can do something similar to what we did with Spider-Verse, and do maybe like half spoiler-free talk, and then maybe go into spoilers a little bit further after that. But that's kind of my plan going forward.
Yeah, no, I think there's gonna be so many people doing streams and content on it. And I'm excited to talk about it all. A couple updates for me for the next week or so. I'm pretty sure tomorrow I will be over on Eric's Reloaded channel for his Giants Arrowverse content creator talk, which I'm very excited for. I'm very excited to hop in over there. My Friday, our second stream of the week, this week's streams have been very kind of last minute, but on Friday I will be a very Disney type stream. I haven't talked about Disney in a while. I love Disney, so I plan to just kind of talk about everything that's happened over the last couple months. It's been a weird couple months for Disney with Peter Wendy coming out, Little Mermaid coming out, and also Elementals, which I will also be seeing Friday. Just kind of talking about it all, hopefully with you guys. And then next week, again, crazy next week, because Flash officially comes out. I bet everyone's going to be making their own streams about it. We'll have some kind of stream going on, along with Secret Invasion, first episode, which is, again, can't believe Secret Invasion's here already. But with all that being said, you guys, that's all I have for you. Taz, do you have anything that you want to shout out? Anything you want to?
I mean, just follow everything as far as all the streams and stuff go. There's going to be a lot of content coming out for the Flash movie and stuff like that. I know you're doing a lot. I know everybody in the community is doing a lot. So just definitely just support all the creators that you can, especially in these trying times after Gotham Knights has sadly been ripped from our TV screens. That's about it.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. We had so many amazing people in the chat. You guys were very active tonight, and that always means the world to me. And one last time, for good luck, I'll see you guys on the flip side. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.